The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everyone. This is part one of 2 episodes back-to-back. If you're listening on audio, 2 episodes, 2 days in a row, as we finish up Witchwood spoilers here on The Angry Chicken. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. She's Jocelyn Moffat, and I'm assuming grabbing his coffee is Willie Dills Gregory.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I gotta strap in. Gotta strap in for this one.
I was going to make a bonus coffee so that when I finished the one I'm currently working on, I had another ready to go. And then I was like, nah, it's a bad idea.
I just had too many things to do this morning, so I didn't really have a chance to, have a bunch of coffee and some breakfast and stuff. So I feel like I'm kind of catching back up with the day.
I knew I had a lot.
And I feel like I'm catching up with card reveals. I'll be honest, some of these I actually will be kind of seeing for the first time. Like I've looked at a lot of things as they were coming out, but we had WrestleMania this weekend. We had a whole bunch of stuff going on as the card dumps were happening.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard
Did you get to watch
right?
Did you get to watch the stream yesterday?
No.
Oh,
okay.
You missed out. You missed out.
Because that was like the big, okay, here's the rest of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude.
Well, there was, here's some, and then there was a big dump on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right,
And then the actual, okay, go look on Facebook for everything else.
But Benbro and Day 9 are a match made in Hearthstone heaven. I could watch those two misplay for days. It is so much fun. There were just so many great quotes and so many laughs, and I had such a good time.
They were very entertaining.
It was great. It was absolutely great.
And I like that Day 9 doesn't always try to make the best play. He's like, no, of course I want to throw away everything in my mulligan. We need to see the cards. I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he'll stop Ben Brode after the game. He's like, no. I want to look at I want to look at Reels' deck too. I'm like, yes, thank you, Day 9. So I don't know how much of that is planned.
He definitely has the viewers in his mind all the time, which is perfect.
I dig it. Well, before we get into the task at hand, we owe a huge congratulations to the winner of our new Take Taco, aka the Angry Chicken Open for Kobolds and Catacombs, the Rational Pie, who is our new champion. From now 2 weekends back. Last week we had such a large uptick in cards to talk about, we completely spaced. So we're sorry, Rational Pie, but congratulations on kicking some serious ass in Take Taco.
Yeah, he did great, and he swept, I think, the semifinals and finals to pull it off. It was quite a performance that we got to see.
He did, and he brought Warrior, didn't he? He had a strange lineup.
He had the Dead Man's Hand Fatigue Warrior, which we never saw lose. He played it really, really well, and there was some games where it was like, I don't see how this deck loses in this matchup. When you play it properly.
Yep.
So he was quite dominant, I think.
Yeah, he played it very well. The VOD is up over at youtube.com/AMoveTV if you want to go check it out for yourself. If you missed the cast, Dills and I sat down together and casted the semis and the finals, so you can go check that out. Big congratulations to them, and keep an eye out for some Witchwood cards this Thursday. Go easy on me if I don't send them right away. But I'm going to try and get them out to you as fast as humanly possible. Also, before we get started, let's thank our patrons. Before we get into the thick of it, let's just thank our patrons right now. Patreon.com/TAC, where hundreds of you that we call our bosses are supporting this show. It's a new expansion. There's probably some new listeners out there. If you're curious how we make any sort of living from the show, that's how. Patreon.com/TAC. So if you like the show, if you're getting something out of it, considering throwing $1 or $2 per episode our way via that. And on this episode, we want to thank Shane O, Gel, no last name given, and Fun Paul, no last name given. But when your name is Fun Paul, do you need a last name?
Nope.
I don't think so. I don't think you do. So thank you very much for the support, everyone. And let's get started with part 1 of 2 for final Witchwood card talk.
It says warning on it. I think we should watch it.
No, we cannot make that card.
It's too OP.
Guys.
Nerf it now.
All right, and if you're watching on video, I'm trying something a little bit different for how I show the cards. So if it explodes, I apologize. But
I'm sure it'll be fine.
yeah. So this episode is going to be the remaining class cards for Witchwood. It will be the longer of the two episodes, most likely. And then 258 is going to be just the remaining neutrals. So enjoy. Let's get into it. Kicking things off with a new Druid card, Druid of the Scythe, a 3-mana 2/3 common Druid minion. It's also a choose one minion, and you get to choose between transforming into a 4/2 with Rush or a 2/4 with Taunt.
Well, 3-mana 2/2. You said 2/3, but yeah, 3-mana 2/2 if you ever were to pull this randomly. This is okay, sure.
It's a choose one.
It's better than it just transforming on its own, right? Because you get to choose, so Druid gets a little bit of a leg up there, but it's basically like 3-mana, 4 damage removal where you don't get the body back because 2 health is going to die pretty much every time.
Yeah.
Or a 3-mana 2/4 with Taunt, which is okay, but that already exists and it doesn't see play, so it seems like just a decent arena card for Druid, and I guess if there's a need for a 3-mana removal spell that doesn't actually give initiative, this kind of fits that mold. But if Druid is just fine with like swipes and wraths and stuff, then I don't see this working out so much.
Yeah,
but
it's an average, slightly above average arena minion. I think you'll see it in there.
I hope it has utility, right? I mean, you know, being able to decide if I need the body or not is pretty cool. Wild, you could potentially play this with Fandral, and you'd get, I guess, a charging 4/4 with Taunt. Would be my guess, right?
A rushing 4/4 with Taunt.
Rushing. Yeah. Jeez. Okay, never mind. Not even that good. It's like a worse Huffer when you choose that.
Yeah.
Or a worse Leok when you choose the other way. I don't know.
It's a better Misha if you get it with Fandral and Wild, because you can attack something to turn you play it. But
yeah, if you're talking Fandral,
yeah. Wow, we have to live in a world where we think about Fandral being wild only. I'm okay with that. Bring it on. I welcome this new world. Yeah. So moving on to the next card, Ferocious Howl, a 3-mana common Druid spell that reads: draw a card, gain 1 armor for each card in your hand. Might be good.
This is part of the whole hand Druid. Which just sounds dirty to me for some reason. It's like hand lock was fine, but hand Druid just sounds weird. But yeah, this was shown to us on stream as part of the whole like build up your hand Druid and then get rewarded. There's actually more cards supporting that archetype in this expansion than I thought there was going to be.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is,
but I don't know if there's enough, but there are enough to like try, right? There's enough to like see what happens, and then you're going to have some neutral minions like Mountain Giants and stuff that I guess are going to fill out the 30-card deck. But the problem is that you can't play... It'll feel like you can't play cheap cards that you might need to spend early on in the game. So it's like you're going to have to kind of... And you don't have life tap. So like the play style of it's going to be a little interesting, where you're going to try to kind of not do a lot, end up with a big hand, and then swing the board back. So like I don't know if I've seen the swing the board back card yet. That is going to make this work for me, right?
And you're not going to.
You could have a whole bunch of 1/1s. Come on.
that doesn't swing the board. It just, I just put a bunch of 1/1s on the board.
Just fills the board.
I need a thing where it's like kill a bunch of things for cheap because I have a big hand, and then I get to play something like that. You know what I mean? That
like some big removal spell that's like costs 1 less per card in your hand.
Sure,
or something.
That seems like the thing we're missing here that actually makes this package complete. And it was kind of the thing I was hoping for, was that. Because, think about hand lock, right? What hand lock would do is sit there and tap and then play a turn 4 Mountain Giant. So Druid, I don't know if they're going to be able to get the turn 4 Mountain Giant going because they don't have the tap. So like they'll have to try to somehow draw on 2 without whatever, or just hero power on 2. Then maybe they Ferocious Howl on 3 and gain a little armor and draw a card, right? And then on turn 4, they still can't Mountain Giant. So I don't know, like I was looking for this card that was going to be deal a bunch of damage, but Handlock used to do like Hellfire and Shadow Flame and things like that would just for fairly cheap clear the board, and then they could develop.
Right, and Druid doesn't have that. Druid has swipe, which is really not all that great when it comes to wide removal. So.
Oh, Witchwood Apple allows them to do it, right? Oh, that's right. Yeah, Witchwood Apple would be the card that gives them enough to play Mountain Giant. Yeah.
Oh, the adding.
And what does Witchwood Apple give them again?
2/2 treants, 3 of them in your hand, not on the board.
So I guess my argument to that is like then you have a bunch of 2/2s in your hand, which
well, you have bad
isn't
cards
the
in your hand,
same as filling your hand with cards from your deck, right? Which is what Warlock was always able to do, which is why this worked. Like every card that Warlock was drawing was going to give them a stronger, mid to late game, whereas, a bunch of 2/2s on turn 4 or 5 isn't all that great.
Yeah, Handlock was just full of really powerful cards.
Yeah.
It just took a little longer for them to start playing them. And I think the problem, that's a really good point. That I'm going to put 3 bad cards into my hand, but they're cards.
And you need to draw Witchwood Apple, whereas a Warlock can just keep hitting that hero power.
And
you just tap no matter what.
Yeah. So there was a lot of what ifs, and there's always the caveat. And I'm going to say this now, and I don't want to address it for the rest of the show, that this could be leading into cards in future expansions this year, or even further in the future. But for right now, I don't know. I don't think Witchwood Apple's good enough. Like I was waiting for, is Treant going to be a tribe? Are we getting Treant synergy? Maybe there's 2/2 synergy. There's none of that. Or Druid's not getting anything.
Another way to buff a bunch of these small minions, which we're losing one of the important ones, right? So
Mark of the Lotus is
Mark of the Lotus is going away.
Yep. Yeah. So there's definitely like you said, there's a lot of more of these cards than I think we expected to see. Did we get the one kind of card that makes this type of deck super playable and good and can keep up with the other things? Also, we will have to remember that the power level of basically every deck, except Warlock, is going to drop significantly. So maybe you don't have to have some amazing hand Druid deck. Maybe it just is good enough in comparison to what else will be out there. Very good point.
At least it does have synergy.
Yeah, I was going to come back around with I'm leaning towards plausible for hand Druid. Like I think it is worth exploring. I think it definitely has the potential. I'm not calling it dead on arrival. I think it might be playable, but I'm not 100% sure. Nothing in here blew me away like a certain shaman card did.
Okay.
But whatever the case is, I'm still interested to try it, see what happens. But I don't think it'll be what we expect from past hand archetypes. So, next Druid card we haven't talked about already is the Bewitched Guardian. It's a 5-mana 4/1 rare Druid minion that has Taunt and a battle cry that reads gain +1 health for each card in your hand. So here's another one of those hand Druid synergy cards. So this could be a really good card if hand Druid takes off.
It's Twilight Drake with Taunt.
And for an extra mana, right? Like, it's not really worth a mana?
For 1 mana, yeah. But I mean, it's the same exact Twilight Drake effect. It's just for 1 more mana, you get to add Taunt to it. And that's a big deal. I mean, if you can drop, a 4/8 with Taunt.
With a deck
that matters. That stops things.
Yeah, with a deck that'll be as slow as a hand deck will be, especially a hand deck that cannot just draw on command for 2 mana. I think the Taunt is actually worth 1 more mana in this specific scenario.
And I mean, technically, you could play Twilight Drake and then the next turn, right? And have overly statted minions 2 turns in a row. Which,
that's fun. I hadn't thought about that. You're right.
Yeah. So that's, if you Witchwood Apple and then you Witching Hour and then I guess turn 4, what would you play what is the card? turn 4 Twilight Drake. But if you didn't have that, you could play Forest Guide and then you'd have this as an option on 5 too, right? I don't know. I'm trying to think of what this curve could look like that would actually maybe make it awesome. And that could be it.
Yeah.
Overly statted minions.
It's not too bad. Not too bad. And our final Druid card we haven't discussed is another legendary for the Druid, Splinter Graft, an 8-mana 8/8 with a battle cry that reads choose a friendly minion, add a 10/10 copy to your hand. That costs 10.
I love this art.
This card is really interesting because there's definitely something maybe there. Like the issue that I see with it is obviously like Aviana is in Wild. And this seems like a card that works really well with Aviana. But then I think with Aviana, even though it specifically states 10, I think it would still cost 1, right? Because Aviana is just this aura effect that's just there and exists.
Yes.
So is it like another way to make a faceless thing happen? But do they need another way with that deck to make a faceless happen, or is just like making 3 of things generally like enough, right?
I don't know.
Because,
I'm not. I don't think I'd mind another way.
Sure, but if the 10/10 part of it is really important, right? Like faceless just makes another version of that. The 10/10 part of it is really important. Then yeah, totally, right? So there's something there combo wise, and I think that's basically where this card ends up. But probably not in standard because it's just too slow for. Without you can't cheat it.
Really
right?
slow, and I don't really know like. Is there a minion with a powerful enough effect that you're going to want to make a 10/10 copy of it that then also costs the full 10 mana?
Well, I think you're in general here. You're not looking for the effect. You're looking for bodies that you can make cheaper, that then you can copy. Like that's so. Like I think of like Molten Giant Corridor Creeper, right? Where, like Molten Giant, you make cost 10, and then you only have to have lost. Whatever,
that's a good point.
10 life. You don't have to be at 20, then it costs 0.
And then you make a 10/10 for nothing. Yeah,
and then you make a 10/10 for 0. Yeah. I think that's kind of where this would land for me as far as standard is concerned. But the thing is like the card, so the minion has to be on the board, and that means it's gonna be very hard to play a minion for 2 or less that allows you to like do this in the same turn. So it's likely you need a minion like that lived a turn. Then you can do this on the next turn, and then I don't know. Yeah, that's the problem with it, right? There's a lot of what ifs here.
Yeah, it could also like I'm thinking of games where I have intentionally discovered an additional Void Lord off of my 1/4 turtle, whose name always eludes me, a Stonehill Defender. There we go, and actually just play it like for the 9 mana because I know I'm in a fatigue matchup and I just need more taunt bodies for stall, but in that case, like it's still Stonehill is something I play and it's good in most matchups. Whereas I think if I'm using Splintergraft for that specific scenario, it's only good in that one matchup.
Yeah, and so you could do a Stone Tusk Boar, but then you can't do this in Wild. Like I see some people saying things like Stone Tusk Boar and stuff like that. It's like sure, you get 10/10 charging 10/10, or 10/10 that charges for 10. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. I need this coffee to kick in. But like again, it's like you're gonna need Aviana to make that cool, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 10 mana for 10 damage. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but there's just we have other classes that have been doing that since the beginning of the game, with some more obvious and easier to achieve synergy. So yeah, I don't know. I think this is one. Yeah, I think right now my biggest excitement for Splintergraft is in Wild, but again, I think might be leading to something later in the year. Yes, yeah, I agree. Like I think this is a card that can be revisited as more cards are introduced with other expansions, right? Yep. It's like always going to be there. Also, like Wild, this card is going to have utility for sure, just because of Aviana. Also, look at him. He's made of Wild. He's a bunch of crazy spindly branches. Yep, that's a good point.
Splinters, Garrett. Splinters.
Those are
splinters grafted together.
Those are some big splinters. I don't think that's getting caught in your finger. I think that's taken off your arm. All right, let's move into Hunter. Not too many Hunter cards that we haven't already seen. Vile Brood Skitterer, however, is one of them. It's a 5-mana 1/3 common Hunter beast that also has Poisonous and Rush. So it's basically 5 mana kill a thing.
Yeah.
Which
5 mana kill a thing with potential beast synergy if somehow on turn 5 it survives.
Yeah, it'd be pretty rough. So yeah. I was like, when I initially saw it, I'm like, cool. Hard removal for Hunter, and then I'm like, wait, we don't run Assassinate. So I'm not sure this is the jam. But again, Discover exists. Like, that's a thing. You may...
Discover, Recruit. There's things here, maybe, potentially.
Yeah, doing this with Rexxar. It's 5 mana or less.
Yep. Rexxar, too, yeah.
Rexxar things with zombies. But essentially, it is Hunter's Assassinate, right?
Yeah.
Because the body's not going to be there after you're done in almost every single scenario. So,
and it's slightly worse because it's beholden to Taunt not being there.
Yes, exactly, and it cannot go through Taunt. So, but you could also say slightly better because it's a minion that might live.
There's a slight
and
chance.
maybe can be paired with other things,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you could adapt it. I mean, it later,
Sure.
like past turn 5, you could combine it with some sort of adapt card, give it Divine Shield so that it does survive.
you could Houndmaster it maybe and turn it into a 3/5 that has poisonous and rush. You know,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Things
Plus,
you can
there
do.
is also the new card, the buff card that puts 3/3 and then puts the copies of 3/3 into your deck too.
Oh, yeah, buffs it and then puts
Yeah.
copies in, and then you get
Dire
these buff
Beast.
And then
I
you get the
believe.
buff
rushing poisonous skitters.
poisonous.
Yeah,
Or Dire Frenzy.
that might be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Dire Frenzy, man, watching that on the stream, that was cool seeing that in action on that new neutral 1/3.
Yes. Yeah.
That was very cool.
So I mean, everything that Hunter is getting is definitely pushing them to try to make this late gamey thing work, right? Like they're getting nothing aggressive at all.
Yeah, they're finally getting their control tools, which they've kind of gotten like maybe 1, maybe 2 here and there throughout
Well, they
the
get
history
things
of
like
Hearthstone.
crushing walls,
Crushing
right?
walls,
They get like one thing added, and then
Yeah.
it's like, well, they need like 7 things. And it seems like almost everything is that.
Yeah, the one thing I still think that they're lacking a little bit is the card draw, but
I think
maybe
they're
neutral things will
Cult
make that
Master.
work.
They do it.
Cult
Yeah, Cult
Master,
Master.
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
I think they start putting that kind of stuff back in.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't think there's another archetype I'm rooting for more, by the way. I really want Control Hunter to be a thing.
Yeah.
So I hope
Yeah,
it-
and I mean, look, we see another dragon being added. Like, okay, dragon control hunter, maybe. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Carrion Drake is next. It's a 5-mana 3/7 rare hunter dragon. It has a battle cry that reads, "If a minion died this turn, gain poisonous."
So I mean, this card is super powerful if you can get this effect to go off, right?
Yeah.
And
7 health. That's a beefy 5-drop.
yeah, that's gonna 2 for 1 at least. Like almost every time, outside of just one straight removal card on the opponent's side, right? Which is damage-based removals. It's going to be very hard to find one that deals with this. So it's going to have to be things like Assassinate or Polymorph or Kill. You know,
Meteor.
yeah, Meteor, sure. Like it's going to be really difficult to actually deal with this efficiently. So, you know, when you can get this, the really big caveat to me is like, how often in this control style archetype am I getting a minion to die? And now it's any minion, so you could remove something
both
on the other
sides of the
side.
board, yeah.
Yeah. So if you could like,
You could even take a value trade here and then still activate this effect. So again, very control-y.
but I mean, you can I assume that this kind of deck will be running, you know, like traps and eagle horn bows and candle shots and things like that, and maybe even the 7-mana 5-attack weapon that nobody ever played forever, but you don't take damage when you attack with it.
Gladiator's Longbow.
Gladiator's Longbow. Yes, exactly. Like, you know, and in those cases, if there's more weapons and things like that, and more removal spells, it seems feasible that removing cards and then okay, now I plop down this 5-mana 3/7 that basically stops you from being able to play anything big or anything like of value the next turn. So it helps you kind of stall that game out to get to your big 10-mana 8/8 dragon, double your minions thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a good card. This is like overall too. I remember a few weeks ago when they just started releasing cards and we're like, these kind of look okay, I guess. Like the ramp up has seemed serious this time around. Seen a lot of solid cards. Let's move into Mage with Snap Freeze, a 2-mana common mage spell that reads, freeze a minion. If it's already frozen, destroy it.
Shatter 2.0.
Exactly. Really pretty art.
Yes.
Yeah, some rockin' art on this one. Yeah. Beyond that,
Yeah, they had to give him like a bad mage spell, I guess.
I'm okay with that.
yeah. It's one of these things where it's like it's interesting. All of these are potentially interesting because they exist in a game where discover is a thing, or generating random spells is a thing. So there's going to be these bizarre scenarios where, well, I got a blizzard, things are frozen. Let me discover some random spells. Snap Freeze. That's actually really good in this specific situation. I don't think you're ever going to put this card in a deck on purpose unless you're working with a budget deck or some cool theme. Pun intended.
You know, this is a much more well-designed card than Shatter was, though, because at least it has utility, right? Like if Shatter did 0 if you couldn't find a way to freeze something.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So this all.
How much did Shatter cost?
2. They both cost 2.
Oh, it was
This
2.
is literally just Shatter with an extra effect.
This is Shatter power creep.
Yep. Rip Shatter. Exactly. Shatter will never see play in Wild anymore. Go ahead and dust your Shatters. Finally. I know you've been holding on to them in case they one day became good cards. Now, that freeze will always be there.
All right, Bonfire Elemental is next. It's a 5-mana, 5/5 rare mage elemental, as the name would imply, with the battle cry that reads, if you played an elemental last turn, draw a card. Yes, please.
Yep.
I like drawing cards.
Elemental Jaina Mage, yay!
This is like also if you play the odd cost elemental mage deck, which some people are talking about, this is nice because it fills out that middle of the curve area where you were playing the 5-mana 4/5 elemental, and now it's like if you didn't have that, what else are you doing? Especially like things like, turn 5, turn 3 you can do, a 3-dropper. If you don't have it, it's like your hero power is really strong and like that's fine or whatever. Like you can, I don't know. There's like, it's weird. You have to like pair things together. Turn 5 seems harder to like pair things together, right? And that's the one problem with that odd cost thing is there's going to be a lot of turns where it's like, I need to have the one that costs exactly that, or I've got an awkward amount of mana to try to spend here, right?
Yeah.
And or ways to like fill that mana. So I don't know. It may be if that's a deck, like this becomes super cool. But if just Elemental Mage is a deck, this is also just really cool. I mean, drawing cards, playing 5/5s, I like it.
Yep. Also looks totally like Jafar's genie form from the end of Aladdin. Disney references make me happy. Cinder Storm is next, a 3-mana rare mage spell that reads, deal 5 damage randomly split among all enemies.
Cool.
Arcane Missiles.
Yeah, it's
on
like
steroids.
Yeah. For 2 extra mana, you get 2 more
extra missiles.
Yeah, so it's less efficient. But again, we're talking odd cost mage, odd spells. Like, you're not going to have your frost bolts, you're not going to have your fireballs. You're probably going to need to fill out some removal options, right?
Yep.
So, yeah. The thing is 5 is probably enough to most likely deal with, like, a minion on turn 3, right? You're still going to get super frustrated, though, when it just goes face, like, 4 out of 5 times.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of wish it would just say minions, and then you just kind of knew you were always getting minions.
And you knew it was a removal spell, period. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, but I mean, I guess.
But then if there's no
the advantage
minions,
is you can go 5 damage to face, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I've never really thought about like what would you prefer? Do you like more consistency, or do you like the chance that you could just use it for reach?
Yeah, like you could just remove with a flame strike and then just boom 5 damage to your face, right?
For 3 mana. Because
that mage will also be dealing 2 damage with their hero power every turn, right? So, maybe, reaching and burning people down because you have this essentially hunter hero power that also allows you to control the board.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that is nicer for them to have it be able to go face. I don't know. I know what's going to happen for me, though. They're always going to all go face. That's really going to frustrate the hell out of me.
Or you're going to need those last, 3 points of damage, and they're all going to hit minions.
Yeah, and they'll all hit minions. They'll just, come on. Yeah.
I'll take this over the Crackle design. At least I know how much damage I'm getting, even if I don't know where the damage is going, rather than a variance in damage.
Yep.
A variance in damage is worse, for sure. You also will, in this deck, have the Black Cat, and so you will be, there's not a lot of decks like this that generally run spell damage, but this deck will definitely run it because that card is insane if you're doing an odd cost deck, right? So.
Yep, absolutely. I'm not sure you're going to be putting this into your non-odd mage, but Primordial Glyph is still in the game, right? After the still in standard, yeah. So you again might come up.
You'll find it. Yeah, you'll find it with this.
Might come up when you need it. Or it might just be the best choice of 3 not too exciting choices.
Well, and then you get 5 damage for 1, right? So. Okay.
Yep, why not? Sign me up.
Mage seems to be losing a lot of their random spell generation, though, right?
Yeah, so, the Qualis Tome is going away.
Yeah, and they're losing the Babbling
Book is going away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I guess there is still the little elemental bro that gives you a random one on death rattle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then there's the Ruby Spellstone, but that would not be in the odd cost deck. So those would be different kind of decks, but. There's still some stuff there. It's just, I feel like the Cinder Storm is going to be found less through those types of methods than it would have been a couple expansions ago.
Yeah. Also, I've only been playing Secret Mage, so the only thing I'm using is Primordial Clip that's giving me random spells. So no different, other than Secret Mage is basically dead in the water for standard after the switch. Next up for Mage is Curio Collector. It's a 5-mana 4/4 rare mage minion that reads whenever you draw a card, gain +1/+1.
So there's the 4-mana 4/4. No, 4-mana 3/3 that becomes a 4/4. The Daring Reporter. That was when your opponent draws the card. So it immediately becomes a 4-mana 4/4, right? And then it like kind of must be dealt with. This one, because it's when you draw a card, there's a couple things. Like if I just play it on turn 5, it's just a 4/4, and so I played a 5-mana 4/4, and it's, you know. But I know that if they can't kill it right away, I will get a 5/5 on my turn, and then I could potentially like draw more cards. Like I can control if I'm drawing cards. I can
Arcane
also
Intellect and
I can also not play it on 5 and play it on 8 with an Arcane Intellect, right? So
or with your weapon
the fact that
already
I can
equipped.
control a little more, and I don't have to try to make you draw cards, which might not be part of my game plan. I generally want to draw cards. Means that I think there's a little more control over this sometimes. So
chat room's pointing out Alaneth as well. So
I said it.
Yeah, I mean,
I said
can't
it.
play
You
them
weren't
at the same
listening.
time, right?
what?
I said I said it. No one was listening.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah, but that would be, I mean, turn 6 or turn 5 with a coin, and then dropping this on turn 6 or turn 7, depending on if you have the coin or not. But
it would be a really good late game minion because it's at least a 7/7, right? So like a 7/7, like the turn you play it, and that matters a lot. And then a 7/7 that has just got to be killed, or else it's gonna grow.
And then
absolutely
if you
bonkers
have
really
the weapon
quick.
still equipped, then it goes like 7/7, 10/10, 13/13, like it just snowballs. So.
Well, actually, no, it'll start going up by 4 at that point, right? 'Cause it'll be a 7/7 on their turn. Then it'll be an 8/8 because technically you're drawing 4 cards every turn because you draw 1 at the beginning as well. So it's it goes out of control real quick.
Yeah,
I like it.
Worth a shot. I'll definitely give it I'll give that a try. If you're playing Alaneth though, we need a deck that works like that because we're losing the Secret Mage, right? For standard. So we need some sort of other deck that's full of low cost spells that I can dump later on and cycle through my cards faster.
Aren't we losing the
An
Crystal
ice block.
Runner?
Well, an ice block is a pretty big
block,
deal for a deck with this card,
Yeah. But we're losing the Crystal Runner, right? Which is the kind of big minion that is actually run in Secret Mage right now. So
so we're losing that in the Cabal Lackey and the Medi's Valet and like basically the entire Secret
Valet,
package.
And Secret Keeper's a big one.
Yeah.
So it's a Secret Mage is in dire straits. I'll be very impressed if someone finds a way to keep it afloat.
So so there needs to be and that's actually Infrared just been another interesting point about it. If you don't play a deck that's able to just burn through your cards really quickly and use them effectively, like you don't have to use them efficiently, but you have to use them. You used to be able to at least play Medivh and then get rid of Alaneth when you decided you didn't want that effect anymore.
Yeah.
That's gone too. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Not Secret. Oh, damn it. What am I thinking of? What's the 2/2/3 that draws a secret? It's not Secret Keeper.
Oh, Arcanologist?
Arcanologist.
Yeah, that's still here.
Because wasn't that on Goro?
Oh, that was on Goro. You're right. Sorry, we're not losing that. But
we're losing, but we're losing all the things that your secrets get more awesome because of, right? Like that's the problem.
Yeah. Ice Block, Balaki,
Crystal Runner.
And and basically like every single of those Secret Mages that ran Alaneth also ran at least one Ice Block, right?
Yep. Yep. Next mage card is the Arcane Key Smith. This is a 4-mana 2/2 epic mage minion that reads Battle Cry, discover a secret, put it into the battlefield. So here's a little something for you secret-loving mages out there.
Sure. I mean, this is actually pretty strong. You play 2/2, which is about 1.5, 2 mana worth of stats, right? And then for 2.5 more, 2 mana more, you pick a secret and just play it, which should be 3. So you're kind of getting a discount here.
Yeah, I think this is a value, but this card's worth its cost.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's fair and balanced.
Sure. Well, and the opponent will never ever know what that secret truly is because it didn't come from your deck, and they're not like, oh, well, I know that they're running these secrets, right? Like, it's always going to be slightly randomized. And then you can also discover the one that's best for the current situation. So it's like, I don't know. I see some interesting stuff here.
You guys remember when Hydrologist made you start playing around Eye for an Eye? That was really awesome when that happened. And this card, I think, by extension, is really awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the thing is, too, this actually plays the secret, right? It puts it into play, whereas the Hydrologist just gives it to you in your hand. So,
and then you had to pay the 1 mana for it. Exactly.
Yeah, and then you still have to pay the 1 mana for the Paladin secret. So this way, you're paying 4 mana for the same body, but you're putting that secret into play. So
you could think of it as you're paying for a Raven, and then you're also getting to pick a secret and play it, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting a 1 mana Raven and then a 3 mana pick a secret. Like if there was a card that just said, discover a secret, play it. Like I think that card would just see play if it was just 3 mana. It was like the cost of a secret, but you could just pick a secret.
Just to have
and play
the flexibility.
If it was just a spell, and you didn't get the body. So for just tacking on 1 more mana and then getting a 2/2, that seems like just fine.
Yeah, I think there's a discussion to be had on whether or not it's worth it to cast the secret because you're a mage and there's typically synergies with that. But if you were talking standard specifically with Cabal Lackey going away, I like this better.
Sure. But the Cabal Lackey allowed you to do things like Mana Worm, Coin, Lackey, Secret, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're in a world where you're losing that, it's like this makes up for it a little bit, and we'll see. But I think again, like I don't think we ever see a real secret mage deck. I think what we see kind of a tempo style mage deck that gets some value out of certain cards, right? And then has. And I also think a lot of people are going to tool around with the odd cost mage because the 2 damage hero power is just awesome.
You heard it here first. Dills is telling you to be a tool.
That's right.
Book of
Tool up, boys.
Book of Specters is next. Book of Specters is a 2 mana epic mage spell that reads: draw 3 cards, discard any spells drawn. This terrifies me.
Minion heavy mage decks.
Minion Mage, which has no thing like. Well, to be fair though, like, what was it? What was it called? Rockdalar, or what was it called?
Yeah,
Rockdalar.
That's the hunter weapon.
Rockdalar and To My Side. Those actually ended up not even being in the spell mage or spell hunter after a little while. Like people were just like, no, we just put in the Barnes and the Yashraj, and then we fill up with all the other spells, right?
And then we high roll.
That was a better thing. So. They don't have a thing like Rock, although they're losing Barnes and Yashra, so that's not going to be a thing. But without something like that, I don't know if a minion-based, and it can't be odd cost, obviously, because it costs 2.
Right.
I don't know if a minion-based mage has like some really cool thing that makes them want to do it. Mm-hmm. And 2 mana draw 3 isn't probably it on its own. It's a support piece for it, right? So. Yeah, and I'm seeing people say things like Elemental Mage, and sure, that might be possible because your end game is something like Jaina, but then generally the Elemental Mages have always wanted to play things like Blizzards and Flame Strikes and big removal spells and stuff.
Yeah, the stall spells.
Yeah,
and the fact that it's like you discard those spells means that like even if you were to throw a couple of removal spells into your deck, like this could be really punishing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 2 mana don't have my Blizzard anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That being said, I like where we're at now in the history of Hearthstone. We're not just immediately dismissing this card's existence because Spell Hunter happened. Like we saw those cards and we're like, no, I'm not gonna put Beast in my Hunter. Are you crazy?
So there's a mathematical number of spells that would make this possibly make sense, right? I think that's the key.
But then
here.
I think
even
if mathematically there's a way to make this make sense so that most of the time you're just drawing 3 minions, you have to be totally comfortable with discarding any of those, 6 or 8 spells that are actually in your deck. So the spells that you end up putting in your deck are going to have to be essentially expendable. And we haven't really ever seen a mage that has built their deck around expendable spells because everything's usually pretty spell-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so I think there's a way it could possibly work. I think if anyone's going to make use of it, it's going to be Elemental Mage because that's the deck that we know of. that is kind of a current archetype that runs a whole lot of elementals and therefore a whole lot of minions. I have faith that maybe someone will make this work. I think it's a really cool card, and it makes Mage think differently, which I'm a fan of any card that kind of makes a class think outside their normal box.
Yeah, it's a very cool
Spellhunter.
build-around type of thing that doesn't also have like a Kellis effect, which just blows the game out of the water, right?
Yeah.
So I like the design of it because it makes you think about how you're going to build your deck in a much different way. What I'm just kind of saying is I'm not actually sure that the deck that supports this is going to be like the good version of Mage that sees a lot of play. Right?
I don't think out of the gate, but this is another one where I'm like, future possibly as more minions get added to Mage over the course of the year. Also,
it's going to be cool to see arena stuff where you like just sometimes this comes up and you're like, oh, I can't pick this. Like I picked too many spells. Sometimes it comes up and you're like, oh hell yeah! Like
no, actually that's a good point.
Minion heavy deck, like oh nice.
Yeah, this is like last 10 picks card where depending on what's already in your deck, you're like, oh hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, if you're running this, I think you're running Curio Collector.
I think you are.
Yeah.
And I think you're also running Archmage Arugul.
You mean Archmage Arugula, which is the only way that I can see this.
Arugula.
Every time I see this, that's what I think it says.
What is this?
I don't know why. It just maybe I'm secretly partly dyslexic or something, but I see Arugula.
Listen. Archmage Arugal was a big a staple for undeads in vanilla because he was a boss in Shadowfang Keep. He is no longer in the game, and when he was in the game there, I always called him Arugal, but I think it was because I heard a buddy say the name first. This time when I'm going through Hearthstone, I haven't thought about Arugal in years. Like I'm looking at this and I did the same damn thing. All that green. I'm just like, who the hell's Archmage Arugula? You're not alone. And I even know who this is. Like, so anyways, Archmage Arugal is a 2-mana 2/2 legendary minion for mages that reads, whenever you draw a minion, add a copy of it to your hand. It's a cool card.
And he's cheap enough that you can combo him with draw effects, which I think is the key here. If this was 7 mana, no, this would be really difficult. I think.
Yeah, and this
you also have to build a deck that doesn't have a lot of spells in it. So
yep. This goes in immediately with Book of Specters, right? Because you don't want to be drawing anything other than minions. If you so like imagine you draw 3 minions off the top, and then it generates 3 copies of minions because you cast that. You've got
if you cast this in Book of Specters and you draw 3 minions and you get 6 cards, like that's crazy.
It's actually kind of scary.
And cards for your deck, right? So again, it's going to be cards that you're looking for probably.
And oh my god, if that deck ever gets online, like Alaneth is just sitting there being like, I dare you to play me. You're just going to burn cards.
I just feel like Alaneth just won't be in these decks. Like I feel like it's I don't know. It's like the thing is though too, this is also a legendary mini. So you only have 1 copy in your hand. So this isn't going to come up like in every single game you play with a style deck.
But if you have Alaneth on board,
certain times it's disgusting.
Yeah,
so
you don't play this guy. So I'm not sure you even consider Alaneth in that deck.
But I mean, you don't have to also like you could do this with the Bonfire Elemental, and just draw 1 card, and it's probably an elemental. You can do this with just Arcane Intellect. You can anything where you're drawing some cards, So.
Yep. Yeah. We still have another mage legendary to talk about. Toki, Time Tinker. This is a 6-mana 5/5 legendary mage minion with a battle cry that reads, add a random legendary minion from the past to your hand. This adds wild legendary minions to your hand.
Yep. So that's weird.
It is super weird. I'm not sure it's playable. I don't care. This is awesome.
It's really fun. 2 points, and I'm glad it's probably not playable, but it's really fun.
First off, why is this not Chromie? It's clearly Chromie. Just given another weird name.
It's like Chromie's buddy Toki.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's clearly a bronze dragon, which brings up my second point. Why is she not a dragon? Even though she's in Nomi form, she could totally be tagged as a dragon.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So I'm very confused by this card. But
and so if you play it in Wild, it's any legendary.
Yes, she can summon herself in Wild, right? Yeah. Or I guess not summon, sorry.
Well,
she could put herself into your hand. Yeah.
But okay, so like the reason why the card kind of sucks, if anybody's like, but what are you talking about? I get to add I get to add a Sylvanas to my hand. It's like, well, no, not necessarily.
You have like
Right.
a 1 in 150 chance of getting
Yes.
Sylvanas.
You can add all sorts of bad cards.
Yeah.
The range is too great. There's too large of a
like,
range.
you don't get the legendary. It doesn't then also say like that legendary costs 2 less or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get a discount after the fact, so you're just paying overcosted 5/5 stats and then maybe getting a bad legendary. So, but super fun. I also agree.
Should have been Chromie.
I agree with somebody who said, I can't see where it was in chat. I agree that I think if you make a legendary like this, it kind of sucks to just give it to a class and be like, now you have 1 less legendary, right?
So does she favor mage legendaries because she's a mage class card?
Oh, I don't know. It's not a discover effect, so I'd guess it'd just be totally random.
It's
Yeah,
totally
I would
random.
think it would be totally random too, but I'm not positive.
Sure. Yeah, and also if they're gonna make it mage, make it discover. Like let's I don't know. There's a couple things that are weird about this, but yeah, it'll be a fun card if you want to play some sort of casino mage. Obviously, Toki goes in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really fun. I think, Jocelyn, tinfoil hat on, that because we know that they develop sets far in advance, that Toki not being Chromie confirms Chromie in the near future.
Interesting.
Otherwise, they're just, I don't know, crazy, or maybe someone on Team 5 is a big Chromie fan and just looked at this card and is like, no, it's not good enough for Chromie. It's not good enough. So we're going to save it. We're going to save it. Plenty of arguments, I'm sure. Let's move into Paladin. Quite a few Paladin cards to talk about. Kicking off with Ghostly Charger, a 5-mana 3/4 common Paladin beast with Divine Shield and Rush.
So yeah, that seems all right. There's a 5-mana 3/4 with Divine Shield and Taunt that people really like in Arena. And this seems like it's slightly better because I get to kind of decide if I want to use it right now, right?
That's kind of like what the rush keyword in general means, right? It's like you're the one who gets to make the decisions about the minion trades instead of your opponent.
And there's going to be times where, I don't know, just throwing this down on the battlefield, I just need to put something on there. That's going to be okay. I mean, it's not a game-changing type of card, but it's, it seems like it's a solid inclusion in certain decks, and I just don't know if Paladin right now needs this type of effect. I think in Arena it will be great. I think in just like standard constructed, I think it's going to be kind of an iffy card that actually see inclusion.
Exactly.
Right? If it said like 5-mana 3/4 deal 3 damage to a minion, would that make it sound more playable?
Like if you could go over taunts and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess you could go over taunts. That's true.
Yeah, that makes it slightly better in that case.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you.
I was just trying to think about it a little bit differently and how I would feel if instead of rush it said deal 3 damage. But yeah, I forgot about taunts.
I mean, no,
That's
his
true.
effect is not bad. What I'm just saying is that like, is this an effect that Paladin's going to look for in some sort of synergistic type Paladin deck, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're generally like if you're playing a mid-range thing, okay, possibly. But the problem is it's on 5. It's not going to remove your opponent's 5-drop very often. So you're just going to run it into their 5-drop and then leave the 3/4 behind, and now you've damaged their 5-drop. Hand buff Paladin isn't necessarily a thing anymore. This seems like a really good hand buff Paladin card, but that was never a good deck.
Most of the hand buffs are going away, right? Because
all of them.
Grimy Goons.
They're all grind. Yeah, they're all grind
rotating
street.
out, so,
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're all going away.
Gadget
So-
Zan's going to wild. I think your point, and if this is what it is, I agree with it because it's my thought on this card as well, is that this is a good card. I just don't think it's quite good enough to make it in the standard, and I'm not seeing any obvious synergy here with any way I want to build my Paladin deck in standard.
Yeah, I guess we do still have that. Do we still have that sword that gets more powerful as you have your Divine Shields popped? You still have that card, right?
Oh, I completely forgot about that
Light
card.
Sorrow or something. What was it called?
Sword?
Yeah. The Paladin weapon, where every time a Divine Shield was popped, it would gain attack power.
I don't even remember that weapon.
Yeah, because it never got played.
I know.
But I don't know. Like I'm just trying to think of you're going to need to have some sort of synergy around this card instead. But I think it's mostly just going to be a pretty decent arena card.
Yeah.
Right.
Light Sorrow, if anyone was wondering.
Light Sorrow, yeah.
It was from
But I mean,
Frozen Throne.
this is if the Paladin has to find a new thing, maybe that is the thing. right? Because they are losing a bunch of Murloc-y stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like specifically the one-drop Murlocs, which were kind of a big deal when you're playing a Murloc deck.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it bears repeating. This is a solid arena card.
Super solid arena card, absolutely.
Yeah, because this is going to, unless there's a Doomsayer on your opponent's board, this is surviving to your opponent's turn. They're gonna have to use something to deal with it.
So if you I see some people bring up things like decks or where you're buffing the minions on the board. Like that's just gonna make him cost a lot more though. That's the issue.
Exactly. Yeah. Then it's not a 5-drop anymore. If you want to echo the bells on top of it, then you're talking 9 at least.
Yeah, and then it's 2 cards, and you need to kill at least 2 cards for that to be a thing.
Well, I mean it's 7 at least, but then you're not utilizing the echo on Sound the Bells, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's and it's like if you're doing like Blessing of Kings or something, you're really holding on to Ghostly Charger. So
yeah,
it needs something like what Hunter's got, a buff that throws it back into your deck with the buff applied.
Yeah.
That's Thrombin says good with Valinir. Sure, yeah. If you get Valinir to hit this,
oh yeah, that's a good
like,
point.
But Valinir hitting almost anything is good. Like, it's like. This is awesome because it does have rush, but again, you're also talking kind of an edge case. So if you have Val in your deck and then you put a bunch of minions that all like really utilize that effect really well, that is pretty cool.
Actually, no, you're right. The existence of Valinir, like getting that to land on a rush minion, is preferable.
Yes, but actually, it'd be better on a rush minion that just dies though, rather than one with the Vine Shield.
That is
because then you get Valinir back right away, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's arguable. Like if I get Rush and it has Divine Field, that's not so bad. Yes, I'd prefer just Rush, but I'm not going to scoff at it. It's still still removal.
I'm not going to turn this card down. I'm not going to kick this card out of bed just because it has Divine
Field. Good to know that Dills goes to bed with Spectre animals.
Like Ghostly Charger. Let me tell you, it's rough.
Wonderful.
No.
Wonderful.
You know when your partner accidentally like kicks you. This.
So what you're saying is you are hot to trot for the Ghostly Charger.
Oh God!
All right, we're done. Moving on.
The relationship is not very stable after it.
Okay, I'm done. I think I'm done.
I say nay to that, Dills. Nay. All right, next card is oh no, did I not include Sound the Bells? No, I mean we kind of already talked about it. I guess I don't have an image of Sound the Bells in the carousel.
That's okay.
But for our audio, this Sound the Bells, in case you haven't already seen, this is a 2-mana common paladin spell that has Echo and it gives a minion +1/+2. So,
powerful card.
I think it's solid. This card got some, like, I remember I was reading Reddit when this card got shown and they were just like, oh, this is crap. I'm like, no, it's a buff and it's a repeatable buff and you're getting card advantage because you're using multiple cards worth of buffs, but you're only using 1 card to cast it. Like, that's what makes Echo cool. Most of these Echo cards you're overpaying a little bit, but the fact that you get the flex of being able to cast it multiple times without burning all the cards out of your hand, that is worth something.
Like, it's not efficient, but you pay for the efficiency just by the fact that you can, like, you get all this.
Redo it over and over. Yeah.
But yeah, you get all this flexibility, right, in exchange for the efficiency. And the fact is, there might be turns where you don't need efficiency here. You just need like pure minion presence and board buffing ability, right, and things like that. Like, so suddenly it's okay.
In a board,
also you're casting a spell over and over again. So
you're casting a buff spell over and over again, so this actually pairs really well with the Paladin Legendary from last expansion and expansion before.
The quest.
And the quest, that just lets you, like, replays all your buffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I like this card. I think it's great.
Yeah, I
think it definitely is, like, maybe the card that can push the quest type and the Linessa type thing over the top. Because if you get all this stuff on Linessa and then you get 5 of these like in one, it's like that makes the Linessa insane. And then the other thing people brought up, I think, a lot on the chat and stuff when this card first came out was Pyromancer. Because you can play Pyromancer and then just keep casting this as many times as you need. So if you use the full 10, you've essentially gotten a Flame Strike. Left behind, I don't know at that point, but
A really big pyromancer.
Well, they always end up with two. No, they gain 1 health each time, and they gain 1 attack each time, right? So it'd be +4/+4 after that. So you basically like kings the pyromancer and dealt 4 damage.
Did a flame strike. Yeah.
His name is officially Swolemancer at that point. It's not pyromancer. He's been eating his Wheaties.
That's right. He's a Swolemancer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like this Echo card quite a bit. I'm looking forward to trying.
This is the type of thing I think Echo really can shine in is an effect like this, right?
Yeah. Yep. Oh wait. Oh my God. Hold on a second. No, because we're in Witchwood, right? That can't be the same Lordaeron bells that fall in Warcraft 3 after Arthas leads Lordaeron to die, right? Right. Doesn't matter. Sorry, Arthas fanboy. Moving on. Bellringer Sentry is our next Paladin card. This is a 4-mana, 3/4 rare Paladin minion with a battle cry and death rattle. Put a secret from your deck into the battlefield.
Who am I?
Turns out Mysterious Challenger is a Bellringer Sentry, just a little more powerful.
We finally figured it out.
Who am I?
So I mean it's a decent effect that you have to put secrets into your deck. It's another way though for paladins to just like draw their entire friggin' deck like really quickly. Yeah. They have the call to arms and all that stuff, and then then you can do something like this. So maybe like we talked about how crappy this Mysterious Challenger was when it came out, and it turned out not to be crappy at all. So I'm not gonna crap on this card right now. I'm gonna let this one happen.
Trying to remember a universe where we thought one of the most oppressive cards in the history of this game wasn't good.
Because everyone did the argument that every single person made was the same. But Paladin secrets are bad, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well,
not when all of them.
When you get 5 for free, seems kind of okay.
It's kind of gross. It's kind of gross. Yeah. No, I think this is a good card. It's unclear to me what the deck looks like though. Like I don't immediately know what Paladin deck runs this.
Well, I think this all goes together with a card we're going to talk about at the end of all of our Paladins that changes all of your 1-cost cards into legendary minions, right? So if you don't play your secrets, or if you've got a whole bunch of little piddly crap left at the end, like mid to end of the game, then you just turn that all into, it has very much like an Elise effect, right? So it changes everything into probably more powerful cards. So I think maybe. Yeah.
Might turn him into.
I had some issues with that card though.
It's better than the last random legendary card we looked at, but it's going to be a while till we get there. So let's just keep on trucking.
I won't jump too far ahead, but just Bellringer, keep that in mind.
Yes, we will come back to you, Bellringer. Paragon of Light is next. However, I want a tattoo of this art. I really like this art. This is a 3-mana.
It looks priesty. I mean, it's got big plate paladin gear on. Like, I'm pretty sure that's actually Legion plate gear for paladins.
I believe it is.
Yeah, but I don't know. She looks real priesty to me.
They both, they're both champions of the light.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't say that right. Anytime you say that, you have to say champions of the light. Anyway, Paragon of the Light is a 3-mana, 2/3 rare paladin minion. It also reads, while this minion has 3 or more attack, it has taunt and lifesteal. Hit it with the sound of the bells.
Yep. Yeah, because it doesn't have to have that from your hand. It's not a battle cry. So just, you can play it as a 2/5, and if you can ever raise its attack by 1, then bam, taunt and lifesteal, which is really cool.
Also,
a 2/5 isn't terrible, right?
No.
But I think you'd probably always try to play it on if you're playing this buff deck, that's it's like this just seems like a no-brainer minion, right? That goes into that.
Yep.
Also, the 5 health bud on this thing makes it a card you could just drop on 3 and then start buffing on 4, right? And
so we're gonna call this Big Booty Paladin.
This is a Big Booty Paladin, yeah.
Can we call it Bootylicious Paladin?
Booty Paladin.
Bootylicious Paladin? I like that too.
Rock some Destiny's Child every time Paragon of the Light comes down. Just my body too bootylicious. That's actually the sound it plays when you buff Paragon of the Light.
If you ever play this deck on stream, need to have that on the soundboard.
Ooh, that would be good. I know. I'll just prep that for Thursday.
There you go.
It for Thursday. Yeah, I like this card a lot. Just good card. Moving on. Silver Sword is next. An 8 mana, 3 attack, 4 durability, rare paladin weapon that reads, after your hero attacks, give your minions +1/+1.
This
A
is
lot
one
of mana to
those,
pay.
yeah, and this is one of those feels like it's kind of a win more card. Like we saw it on stream and it was super powerful because the paladin was already on the board with some pretty powerful minions. So if you've already got 3 or 4 minions on board and you're swinging with this, sure, that's definitely worth it, but you're already way ahead because you've got 3 or 4 minions on board. So
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is an argument that it puts your opponent on a timer, if only because you're paying 8 mana for a 3 attack weapon, so the only thing you should really be doing is kicking them in the face with it, because you're probably not going to be killing their minions with it.
Yeah.
It seems like a card that you could do like a one of in like a dude style paladin deck, but I'm not sure dude paladin is surviving, right? Because
No, I don't think so.
Stand Against Darkness is gone. Because yeah, you basically need to like load the board over and over and over again, like what they do currently. Which the reason why that deck is so good is that they don't just like overload the board and then get AoE'd one time and then lose the game, right? They can redo the board thing like 4 or 5 times, no problem. So, and then but just the 8 mana, man, is really prohibitive here. Like you can't ever pair it with anything that's the same turn, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's really bad to play 8 mana, 3/4 weapon and then have like one dude on the board. You know what I mean? Like it's just awful. So
yeah, I would have liked it if it was cheaper, with even if they gave it either less durability or less attack and durability. Like if this is something I could combo with Call to Arms, then it's disgusting.
Yeah,
imagine
which
if it was like a 6 mana 3/2.
It's probably because Call to Arms exists is why this is 8 mana and not like 6 mana.
Yep. Now we will still have Lost in the Jungle, so you could potentially you could, like on turn 10 double Lost in the Jungle, but
then you've got 4 2/2s on turn 10.
And the 3/3 weapon. But on turn 10, you likely used your Lost in the Jungles already, right? Like, you're not saving them for this.
Don't think Silver Sword finds a home.
Yeah. And it's going to be, I think, a really bad pick in Arena because you just can't pay this much for a 3/4 weapon.
Yeah.
And you can't guarantee you have a board that makes it worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is, man, of all the Paladin, like, I've been pretty happy with all the Paladin cards so far. I think this is the first one I'm kind of like, I don't see where we played this.
Well, I'm happy with what they've given them because they're not pushing them more aggressive, right? And like none of these cards feel like, okay, let's continue down this path of aggression. There's no 2-drops, right? There's a Cathedral Gargoyle, but I don't think you ever play that in a Call to Arms deck because you want that battle cry effect, right? So it's like there's no cards that like just they gave them Call to Arms and they're like, oh crap, okay, let's be careful now. We gotta watch our step with Paladin.
Yeah.
Because
these
cards all feel more mid-rangey, more oriented around the buffing synergies and things like that, and then kind of playing Linessa and getting like a big blowout, which is fine.
Yep. So on to the next one, Hidden Wisdom. So 1 mana, epic Paladin spell. If you guessed it was a secret, you would be correct because it is. The secret is after your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, draw 2 cards.
Well, it's a good effect for 1 mana, but like the other card that we saw, what was the other secret we saw? It was the Hunter one, right? They make it 6/6. Yeah. Like that one, it's going to be really easy to play around once you kind of figure out what it is, right? So you'll just kind of start doing 2 more powerful cards and a hero power or something instead of playing that 3rd card. So, but that being said, this I think is better because it's 1 mana and we have ways to put it into play really cheaply than the other one.
For free, for example, with Bellringer Sentry.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't think you ever pick it in Arena. Like people don't ever play 3 cards in the turn in Arena because everyone's trying to get value out of all their cards.
Yeah.
So and
it can
the
happen
meta
late, though.
Involves a lot of decks that play lots of cards in their turns, then sure, maybe. But even then, it's like you're not affecting the board at all. You're just adding value to your hand, right?
Yeah. This is a little more lukewarm on this one. I like it better than Silver Sword, but
yes, better than Silver Sword.
yeah. But I'm it makes sense from the Arena bit too. It's like sometimes I'm like in a late game scenario where 3 cards get played, but a lot of times you all just kind of run out of cards, right? In Arena.
Yeah. By the time like it's late game stuff, it's like a top deck war, you know.
Mm-hmm. Most of the time, yeah. So let's talk about Paladin legendaries. The first up is the Glass Knight. This is a 4-mana 4/3 legendary Paladin minion that has Divine Shield. It also reads, whenever you restore health, gain Divine Shield. I heard you like Divine Shield.
So that means restoring health just to anything?
I think so.
Whenever you restore health.
So whenever something is healed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, this thing will be hard to heal. So you're going to have something else in most cases that gets healed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, if you could keep putting Divine Shield on it, obviously you can get some sweet value. But that seems difficult to me.
Yeah.
That seems difficult.
Again, like, there's no health restoration in the new cards, right? I'm just looking at everything overall.
There's 2 or 3 neutral healing cards now.
If there's lifesteal cards and stuff too.
And there's lifesteal, yeah.
The Paragon of Light could gain
Paragon of Light.
Right?
Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So there's maybe your... That's maybe your... At least from the new cards. So, yeah. Okay. I mean, Paragon of Light's really good.
Yeah. But like, does like that deck want something like a single of this card here, the Glass Knight, right? Like, it kind of helps you with board control, you know, but it doesn't have like rush or anything. Like, you just got to play it with Divine Shield and then hope it lives. A 4-mana 4/3 with Divine Shield is not the worst thing ever, though. So this is like a card. It's like I gotta see this in action. I gotta like actually try to put play this in a deck with some lifesteal stuff and with some restore options. Like you got that Benevolent the Genie thing, right?
Yeah.
That restores at the end of the turn, so you could like use the Divine Shield and then get it back at the end of your turn. I mean, there's like stuff. I just have to play them all in the same deck and be like, okay, is this all actually ever happening? Am I finding scenarios where I can take advantage of this effect?
And I wonder if like you have a lifesteal minion, but you're not currently damaged. Then
if
that would count as restoring health or not. Yeah.
Doesn't count for things like Northshire Cleric if a minion's full health and you heal a minion. So I would.
So I would think like you'd have to be taking damage too. So
my thought process with Glass Knight is that if I return a Divine Shield to this minion once, it's really good. So like if we can consistently make that happen in an archetype, then I think Glass Knight finds a home. If it becomes super inconsistent, then I think we just kind of let him sit until more healing effects find their way into Paladin.
So I think I want to clarify stuff for chat. I'm pretty sure, and like maybe we have to do some science, but I'm pretty sure this just means whenever you restore health to anything, an opponent's minion, your hero, the other hero, then it gains the Divine Shield if it didn't already have it.
The only specific modifier here is the word "you." So you have to do it. If your opponent is a priest and they're healing things, you're not getting any effect off of this. So you have to do it. But it sounds like it does not matter what you heal. So you could even, like you said, heal the opponent or the opponent's minions to proc Divine Shield being recast on. I just think
the effect has to occur from your side of play, right? Like
I would think.
Yeah, I don't see why you would word it this way. It seems like they're trying to word it minimally and just include everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it could say something like whenever a character is healed.
It's healed, yeah.
Gain Divine Shield, and I guess that might make more sense. But like they just don't really do. They don't always do stuff with consistency. Cleric says whenever a minion is healed, right?
Yes.
So that's just super specific. Also, it is interesting that suddenly it's restore health. I think that's another interesting thing because they say whenever a minion is healed, but you can't heal like a full health minion.
Mm-hmm.
Like this sounds almost more like, hey, it also has to have damage already on it. I don't know. It is weird. I agree with you guys in chat that it's odd wording.
It's really weirdly worded. So, yep, I am calling for science.
But the thing is like, again, they're very specifically not saying friendly character. I think what they mean here is character, just character in general. So, you could potentially heal an opponent's minion if nothing on your side is damaged.
Yeah, I didn't see any clarifications about Glass Knight going around. I could be wrong. Email in if you find anything, tacpodcast@gmail.com. But
I can check the Reddit discussion because sometimes people talk about
Sometimes
it there.
they find the clarifications and post them there. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Hearthstone's been pretty good about including clarifications in the post about the card when it's revealed, and there was nothing, and I just checked again to see if they updated. There's still nothing there.
Yeah.
So, whatever the case is, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Again, Hearthstone not always the most consistent with the way effects play or even the way they write.
But you know how fun it is, Garrett, when you open it and have to figure it out.
I don't even want to go down. I don't even want to go back down this road. Don't just. I'm happy so far. These cards have just been awesome, pretty much across the board. Let's just stay in Happy Town. All right, stay in Happy Town.
It feels like they're trying to push you towards a buff style mid-range paladin, and I am okay with that.
I so want that to be a thing because that's how I like playing white in Magic, and also white red. So cool. Let's make it happen. Last Paladin card, Prince Liam. It's a 5-mana 5/5 legendary Paladin minion with a battle cry that reads: transform all 1-cost cards in your deck into legendary minions.
Cards, not spells or minions. So just anything that's 1 cost becomes a legendary minion.
As long as it is not in your hand.
In your deck. Yeah, not in your hand, in your deck.
Yep, exactly. So this was what you were alluding to when we were talking about Bellringer Sentry, this idea that maybe there is a Paladin now that runs multiple secrets, gets some value out of it with Bellringer Sentry, but once you enter, the mid to late game and those secrets are no longer worth as much, you throw down Prince Liam, transform all of that into hopefully more powerful cards.
Yes.
The problem is that there's a big emphasis on hopefully here.
And there's another huge problem with this card, and that's it's not Elise would do it where all the cards in your hand and deck. This is just your deck. And
so if you get stuck with your 1-cost stuff in your hand.
That's a huge difference because when it was your hand in your deck, you could run all these cards that help you draw and stuff. And then if you get to a certain point in the game where you didn't want to draw cards anymore, you just didn't play those cards, held on to them, and then they became legendaries, right?
Yeah.
And here, you have to have a bunch of these 1-cost cards still in your deck, transform them, then draw them, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I think it's just bad.
So it's added an additional layer of random, feels bad, right? In that it's draw dependent.
And so the only way that this could ever give you enough legendaries that it's good is you'd have to be playing a whole bunch of 1-cost cards, and then how many decks could take advantage of that many 1-cost cards, right? I don't know if that deck is ever very good, and in a fatigue situation, this doesn't help you. So it just feels bad. Just feels like it's just a bad card to me, but I could be wrong.
I feel like I'm going to play around with it anyways because I don't know if you need to run that many. I feel like even just at a 5-mana 5/5 is pretty okay. If you get the effect to go off on 1 or 2 of your 1-cost spells or 1-cost cards that, then it kind of makes your top decks a little bit better. Maybe? I feel like it's a generate play with it.
Cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like I need a way to generate them and put them into my deck. I need something like friggin' the Idol, in a Paladin deck, right? Which we just don't have. And we got a lot of ways to just pull those 1-cost cards out of your deck. So it's very often you've thinned your deck of these 1-cost cards, so that's the issue that I see with it. And like you said, you'd have to see this in action and see the deck that can utilize it to understand if this actually ever works. So it would be interesting if it just said odd cost cards. Because then you could just run an odd paladin with the super sweet buffed up hero power there, right? Which I think paladin is one of the classes that could take advantage of the buff hero power. And then a certain point it's okay, but also now turn my rest of my all my crappy cards that I have left. Yeah. But 5-mana 5/5 is not enough tempo for this effect. That then takes a long time. 5-mana 5/6 was a card that we saw kind of a lot of, but
I was
not sure.
I was having fun thinking about our review episodes, and we don't do like letter grades anymore. When we first started, we did that, and then just Hearthstone got too nuts. Like it's just it's too hard to really.
Well, yeah, and the drip feed doesn't help when you're trying to be like, I don't know if it's an A because I haven't seen the rest of the cards.
Yeah, exactly. But I was thinking, like, if we ever went back to something like that, the way I would like to do it would be craft, dust, or wait. Like those three. Like, and if I was thinking of that with Prince Liam, if I had to give it a hard thing, I'd say, like, oh, that sounded bad. If I had to give it a hard grade within
really
that
want
system,
to give Ghost Liam a hard thing,
a hard rate within that system, I would say wait, but leaning towards dust. Like I'm leaning towards. I'm pretty sure Prince Liam is bad, but there's something about it. There's something about this card that I just like, and I want to tinker with.
I definitely see that. I think it's a card that can be very fun. Like you can have a lot of fun with this. But
I think I like it better than the Glass Knight. I think he's better, personally.
Oh, I think he's worse. Glass, I think he's way worse. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
No, I feel the need to defend Glass Knight. I think Glass Knight is good. It just may not be good right now. But it doesn't ask that much of me to get that Divine Shield back up on it, as long as it works the way I'm expecting, which it hadn't even crossed my mind that that's not the way Glass Knight works. Damn it, Hearthstone. Well, whatever the case is, we are more or less at the midpoint of our class cards, so we're going to take a break and enjoy this message from our sponsors. Boy, Joss, our future selves, I'm sure, are really enjoying the stretch in between all these cards we're talking about.
Very, very much so. Man, I needed a break.
Yeah, future me is getting a breather right now. Really enjoying it. But oh man, it's a challenge to pack all these cards into a single episode. But you know what's not a challenge to pack, Jocelyn?
What, Garrett?
Your away luggage. In fact, it's very pleasant to pack because awaytravel.com has a great offering of luggage for you to go travel with and to fit all your knickknacks in.
It's their patented smooshing technology, Garrett.
I believe
it does it every time.
I believe they refer to it as an interior pressure system where you can push the air out. But I like smooshing technology. That's a good one too. Hey,
maybe I should patent the word smoosh.
Can you patent a word? Just a word? Just like a single word? But I don't know. Talk to. Can we get Snoop Dogg on the line? I believe he has a lot of experience with that. Hey, BlizzCon was just announced, so in many months we're gonna be getting some serious use out of our away luggage.
Hey, I've already been looking at flights for BlizzCon, and the number one thing that they say is it's going to cost me more dollars to check a bag. So I don't want to check a bag. I want a super freaking awesome carry-on that's going to fit all my stuff.
Well, lucky for us, I know we both have away luggage. They were kind enough to send us some carry-ons, and this is the single nicest piece of luggage I have ever owned. I typically
makes you feel like a grown-up.
It does, right? It does. Yeah. So if you want to check out all of the different pieces of luggage that they have to offer, head on over to awaytravel.com/TAC right now. Their carry-on, the carry-on and the aptly named bigger carry-on both have batteries, internal batteries, so you can charge your devices. So when you've killed your iPad or your phone because you've been playing too much Hearthstone, your luggage has you covered. You don't have to go find that outlet. You don't have to stand. You don't have to get elbow to elbow with someone before you get elbow to elbow with someone on the plane to charge your devices. You can just do it right there. Be an introvert like us with your luggage. It'll be great, and you can keep playing Hearthstone. On top of that, they've got the TSA-approved combination lock. They've got free shipping within the 48 lower states. They have a 100-day return policy and a lifetime warranty. In the past, Jocelyn, I have been happy if my carry-on luggage has lasted me 2 years. This has a lifetime warranty.
Exactly. Like, you will literally never have to buy another piece of luggage.
Yeah.
This stuff's so good.
It's great. It's great. And they have a great offering for our Angry Chicken listeners out there. If you go to awaytravel.com/TAC right now, you pick yourself out a piece of luggage that looks good to you. You get to pick the color that you want. Some great colors, by the way, so you can actually find your luggage on that carousel that I'm not allowed to ride for some reason. And use the code TAC at checkout, and you'll get $20 off your luggage. And you'll support the show in the process. So we really would appreciate it if you went to awaytravel.com/TAC. At least take a look, see what they've got. And we thank them for their support. Now, let's get back to these cards, and maybe we'll get lucky, and some of them are just for arena. We'll get to say, yeah, maybe an arena, and move on.
I doubt it, Garrett. We're in for another 2 hours. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah, we are. Well, whatever the case is, back to Angry Chicken. I didn't actually get to stretch during any of that because I had to be here to switch the scene back when it was over. But we are back and on to Priest. Are you ready to talk some Priest cards?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we could just do some jumping jacks right now on air. Do you want to do that? You know, get up a little.
No way, man. I got up. I made a coffee. I fed the cat. I've been super productive.
Oh, it's so nice not to have to pilot the XSplit, isn't it?
Exactly.
All right. Well, our first priest card we're going to talk about today is Divine Hymn. This is a 2-mana common priest spell that reads restore 6 health to all friendly characters.
So
this says restore health.
Circle of healing.
Glass Knight says restore health, but not the same class. Yeah, I mean, it's priest. It's healing. This doesn't have the
cheap healing you can do with cleric-y stuff. I mean,
it doesn't have the flex of being good if you can swap your healing to damage though, because then it just kills you.
Because then it just kills all your stuff.
Kills you and your friends.
Friendly characters.
Which is probably
now
good.
There is a few cards that priest is getting where this is what I'm kind of thinking, like they need this type of support.
They need more healing, yeah.
So yeah, it seems like a card that could potentially see play when you have that kind of deck. So minions with lots of health. Obviously, if you can then play them, and also the card that casts Inner Fire on all of your minions. Like this seems like a card that supports
Lady in White.
Yeah, this seems like a card that supports that type of deck as well, because you play a lot of cards with a lot of health and not a lot of whatever. But then you might need to make some multiple trades with those, and then use Divine Hymn to heal them all at the same time. So that's the type of deck I see this in. The problem that I have is I don't think that deck is necessarily that good.
Yeah.
So this is a definite wait and see card for me. Like I need to play around with this, plus the Quartz Elemental, plus the Nightscale Matriarch, that kind of thing, and really see if it actually ends up working out.
Mm-hmm. And chat room's pointing this out too, but Greater Healing Potion is leaving, so they're not going to have that 4-mana heal my face for 12 cards. So this allows them to have a little bit more healing since they're losing that.
Yeah. The fact that it heals your face is good, but I think more often than not, you're going to be seeing this used just to heal a bunch, 2 or 3 minions up to full.
Yep.
But you can play this in combination with Injured Blade Masters and stuff too, so.
Yeah, and I feel like that, heal your minion, high health minion type deck is Blade Masters are obviously going to be coming back. So I think there could potentially be something there with the high health priest minions, maybe, because we did see, and we're going to talk about them in a second, but we did see priest get a few minions that kind of support that archetype. Because when we were talking about the Lady in White, that was the big question, right? Is a Lady in White deck, are there going to be enough cards in that deck to support her that aren't just total crap if you don't have the Lady in White? Is that deck, aside from her, still going to be good and viable? And I think they got a little bit of support there. So Divine Hymn, I think, would fit in that low attack, high health, Lady in White combo-y type priest deck.
There's also Vivid Nightmare. Vivid Nightmare is you take a friendly minion, you make another copy that only has 1 health but can be healed. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of cards in here that it's okay, if this happens and that happens and this happens, then all right, we got something. But these are all there's a lot of ifs, right?
Yeah, and Big Priest is going to be rotating out, obviously, because Barnes is leaving.
Thank
then
God.
We've got.
I will never not cheer.
Are there any, what archetypes of Priest do we think are going to be sticking around? Does Priest need a replacement?
Well,
archetype?
Maybe an elemental style thing. Probably still Divine Spirit, Inner Fire.
Yeah.
They'll probably be trying to figure out how to play dragons, because Dustbreaker is still super good.
And they did get another dragon in the Matriarch, right? So Matriarch would.
Someone's going to try to make dragons a thing still, because of Dustbreaker.
Yeah.
But I think we're just going to see a lot of Divine Spirit, Inner Fire type stuff. And This actually does kind of help those because you need to restore a bunch of health like right before you actually start swapping it. So
Is Netherspite Historian rotating?
Historian is rotating. Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was
Karazhan.
Karazhan. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I don't. Priest is a big question mark for me. I'm not sure exactly what Priest looks like after the jump, but they're getting some cool cards.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I would put like, Divine Hymn to me is kind of an average card. I think it's a wait and see as well. I'm not. This isn't one of the ones where I'm like, yeah, this is really rad. But
this needs a deck that supports it.
Right. Which is true of most cards. But yeah. Let's move on and talk about.
Some cards are like you build its deck to support this, right?
Yeah.
It's like this needs like the deck that it is part of to be.
Oh right, yeah. You don't build around Divine Hymn, but Divine Hymn might go into something that you're building around.
Yeah, Divine Hymn is a tool in a deck that it works in.
Yeah. Is it the gas or is it the engine?
Mm-hmm.
And Divine Hymn looks like gas.
To me, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Quartz Elemental is next. It's a 5-mana, 5/8 common priest elemental that can't attack while damaged, which is fine.
Hey, look, Divine Hymn things.
Yeah. Hey, look. Also, I mean, it's priest. Just like if I hadn't seen Divine Hymn and you just showed me Quartz Elemental, I'm like, yeah, makes sense in priest.
Yeah, this is why like a card like Divine Hymn might actually be decent because right now you've only really got Circle, right? So an opponent could just be like, hey, if I can just get 3 damage on this, I don't ever have to worry about it. It's kind of like it's not on the board anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then a card like Divine Hymn really kind of makes that better. So it's
he also
does an elemental, so you can take advantage of elemental tags.
I was going to say you could take advantage of the odd even thing because the priest heal becomes 4, right?
Oh, that's really good,
right.
actually. Yeah,
that's a good point.
So then they have to deal 5 damage, somewhere between 5 and 8 damage, then to the elemental to make it.
Yeah,
I like
with 2 mana heal for 4. That's actually I didn't even think about that. That's really good. Odd cost for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Also, in that deck is the Glitter Moth, which would then double the health of this.
Yep, and the Matriarch.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's something.
We're onto something
there. I don't know if that something is enough, but that's something there.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's interesting. I really like Quartz Elemental quite a bit, even if we're not talking odd priests specifically. I think this is a cool card. You know what else is a cool card? Frickin' Squashling. I love this card so much. This is a 2-mana, 2/1 common priest minion. Squashling has Echo. It also has a battle cry that reads, restore 2 health.
Yeah, this card is you could use it to draw a lot of cards with Cleric. You can just use it to restore a lot of health and be able to then Divine Spirit Interfire or something. You can use it to make some value trades. You can use it to gain 10 health and put a bunch of 2/1s on the board for your character if you just need, like, damn, there's a utility here. It's a voodoo doctor that costs 1 more. You just get to keep playing them. Like, you have 5 of them if you want. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I love.
And that's where the cost of the Echo keyword comes in, right? Is you're using 1 card, but you get the ability to do it over and over again. So.
Yeah, people are saying Akanai. Sure, I mean you get a 4-mana Akanai into play, and then you can just start pinging stuff down as if you have the super mage hero power, right?
And leaving 2/1s behind, right?
And leaving 2/1s as well, exactly.
Yeah, you have some bodies too that have to be dealt with.
Yeah,
but you can never do that more than 3 times in a single turn, but that's still solid to be able to do that 3 times.
I mean,
for 6 damage.
6 damage for 6 mana, and also play 3 2/1s.
Yeah.
And if you can get the Agonite to stick, you can just start shooting them in the face over and over again if you want.
Yep. And also, I would really like you to... So to our audio listeners, if you don't see this art, it's the little squashling pet from World of Warcraft, which is a pumpkin on a stalk that is bipedal. Please, just close your eyes. Just give me this one. Close your eyes. Imagine an army of these things shooting you like they have little machine guns, because that's what's going to be happening with Akanai, and it makes me really happy.
I'm picturing like razor petals, like the leaves just shooting out from the squashling. Pew, pew.
I have no idea why they picked a squashling for priest. Like, flavor-wise, it makes 0 sense to me, and I don't care. I love it. I love everything about this card. On to the Nightscale Matriarch, which you were alluding to, Jocelyn. 7-mana, 4/9 rare priest dragon that reads, whenever a friendly minion is healed, summon a 3/3 whelp. Hey, look, more Divine Hymn things?
Divine Hymn things or odd cost deck things or dragon things. This kind of, I feel like, fits in a lot of different places potentially. I think this is a really good card.
Yeah, and
This is a
7-mana 4/9
4/9
isn't hard to kill, is hard to kill.
It is hard, yeah.
You could play it. You could play it, and then it potentially lives a turn, and then it's just like it's game over. Like because now I'm doing squashling stuff and summoning 3/3 whelps, or I'm doing a single Divine Hymn on a couple minions and summoning a bunch of board presence. Like, yeah, this seems like it's got some power here. It is a must kill minion, and it's a 4/9. And 7-mana 4/9 that's not crazy. Like we got 4/8s and stuff for 8, right? So this is freaking good. Actually, the 4/8s are 9 because they actually death rattle and kill stuff. But whatever. I mean, just like getting
there's
one.
There's the 4/8. The Primordial Drake, right, is a 4/8 for 8 that does the thing. But
getting like the one tick off of this, means you're adding a lot of stats to the board.
Yeah.
So
I'll take 2.
Yes. I'm surprised this isn't a legendary, to be honest. The fact that it's a rare, then you can have 2 of them.
Sure.
Man, that's powerful. And it's not a battle cry or anything, so even if you can cheat this out or res this, like...
I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far. It's not like they're 3/3 whelps with rush or charge.
Sure,
no, I know,
but they just keep coming. And then it's like, do you deal with the whelps, you deal with this, and like if you deal with this, then you get no more whelps, but you might have left a few whelps behind. Now you're starting to take damage.
And if you AoE, then you might kill the whelps, but then that damages the matriarch again, and then you're like, well, crap.
Yeah. It puts you in a tough position as the opponent.
It does, yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah. If you clear the board, though, then this is going to be the only thing on the board, and you're only getting, one whelp in most scenarios.
Sure. If your opponent can never let you have minions, then, this isn't going to help you, all right? It's not going to get you there. But
by the way,
probably lost the game anyway if your opponent's never letting you have minions.
By the way, listeners, I give you full permission to cap this and throw it back in my face when Nightsteel Matriarch is just tearing up the ladder.
Sure.
But I wouldn't go quite as far as being like, oh man, we need to limit this to 1 of. I don't think I'd go quite.
Okay, I'm with you there. I think it's okay to be able to have 2 of these, and I do like the fact that being able to have 2 of these helps with potential dragon synergies that we are losing, right? And now, like 2 of these makes it so that Dustbreaker is not completely like unplayable and must come out of all priest decks, right?
Yeah, that's always what's been interesting about dragons. Like if you have a powerful, expensive dragon, it's not scary. It's like it's not a bad thing to have it because cool. Like I can't play it anytime soon, but it is now proccing all of my other dragon effects. So it's like another check in its favor.
Kind of one thing that bothered me about the Dragonid Operative era of dragon decks was it didn't feel like what the dragon synergies were supposed to kind of always be about, which was I have to put a really expensive, crazy dragon in my deck to then get these other really powerful effects along the way. It felt like, I just put a couple of really strong mid-range dragons in, and then, boom, look at me, I'm Dustbreakering your board, and it's like what? But the challenge was supposed to be that I have to have this giant dead card in my hand forever so that I could do all these powerful things along the way.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it.
I kind of hope we go back to that.
You're right, because what ended up happening was we all just held on to our Twilight Drakes because it didn't have... Like a Twilight Drake was always going to do what it was always going to do, regardless whether or not you had dragons in your hand. So you always played everything else but your Twilight Drake, keeping that Twilight Drake in your hand to trigger your other dragons.
Yeah, and people would look at, like, I made the Dragon Priest deck. People would be like, where are the big dragons? I'm like, you don't have big dragons because you just have these mid-range ones, and then you have Nellyspite Historian, and then sometimes you get a big dragon from those. Like, it was just weird.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like... I think Kibler's talked about this, too, where he's like, this is weird that my dragon deck is just a mid-range deck, not like big bomb dragons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of hope that that's kind of where we're headed back towards.
Lost a little bit of their flavor for sure. So Ysera, maybe finding a home again.
Possibly.
Like to see that.
Especially Ysera in a Lady in White priest deck, because a lot of these dragons have big butts and
that's
smaller. Then you're getting 12 Yseras and 9 matriarchs.
That's just what Ysera needed to be scarier.
Yeah.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that. Man, I like Lady in White.
I'm not a believer in the Lady in White decks, but I'm definitely going to give them a shot. And
love it.
Nightscale Matriarch is going to be part of that plan.
Still love it. But more cards to talk about. I don't have time to defend Lady in White again. I did that last week. Let's talk about Blink Fox and move into Rogue. Blink Fox is a 3-mana 3/3 common rogue beast that has a battle cry that reads, add a random card to your hand from your opponent's class. So rogues aren't looking too different this expansion.
I am so glad this is a common because this is my go-to gold enchantment or gold craft for sure.
I feel like this is your Patronus.
It's so pretty, and it's all blue and pink, and love it. I love it.
It's got pink rose petals in the foreground. Yep. Yeah. But other than that, it's an average. I would say this is an average card. There's more things you are going to be maybe wanting to do with opponent's class cards. It's a route that they seem to be pushing rogues down. I personally have never gotten aboard that train, and I'm not sure I'm going to this time around either.
Well, the Swashbuckler pulled patches. So he was obviously good. But he was a 1-mana 1/1.
That's a pretty big standalone.
I mean, it's a huge upside, right?
Yeah.
That you pulled patches, right? It was a huge upside. But you often saw, like, towards the end there, people weren't even playing it on one. They were waiting to play patches, like, when they wanted the effect of a 1/1 charge, right? This card is a better standalone body for what, like, playing a 3/3 that just gives you a card. That's pretty good. Like, Undercity Huckster had to die. A lot of these cards, like, had, I think, more of a drawback than this one. Like, a 1-mana 1/1 was enough of a drawback, but it pulled patches, so it, like, the drawback kind of went away, right? This, I think, as just a standalone card, I think is just better than all of that stuff if they didn't have that other weird effect that they had, right? Just because 3-mana 3/3, it's a fine body. It's like, think of like Curious Glimmerroot. You get a card that's literally from the deck, but you have to guess what it is sometimes, and that can be difficult sometimes against non-traditional decks. Here,
or it
you
might not
get a bad
necessarily
card.
be a great card, though,
Sure.
too, from Glimmerroot, or at least not the card that you potentially want even in the matchup. But
it also gives information. Like, there's lots of things about that are still good too. Like, even if you pick the wrong card, you're like, okay, now I know that card's on their deck, right? But like what Blink Fox does is, like, it's just, here's a card, here's a 3/3, cool, and like, yeah, the card might be bad, but just here's a card. Good players will oftentimes be able to utilize extra cards.
Yeah.
And then a 3/3 body is not trivial. It actually allows you to do some decent trading and things like that alongside your dagger and stuff. So I feel like as a standalone card, like, cool. Then we got some cards later on that I'm like, okay, now this might actually push this over the top.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk about them when we
I
get there,
stand
but
to be convinced, I guess. So I'm interested to get your thoughts.
like this card, if there was no other support for it, we're losing too many of these things, right, to have this, like, actually be good. This effect is, like, kind of no longer part of the deal, right? And the other card that we had to kind of support this was the turn the spells into other spells, which wasn't good. Like that Lillian Voss or whatever it was, right?
Lillian
Like,
Voss,
that was the only other real support for it. So the Burgle type thing was always just for funsies. But now we've got some, like, actual reasons to play these cards, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just move along then, because all of these I'm kind of just, like, I've never been a believer in the random card. Like, yes, the 3/3 for 3 that gives you another card, there is value there, but I've just never having no control over the cards that I'm getting.
Sure.
And
the fact that they're from other classes sometimes means that they just don't friggin' do anything.
Oh yeah, especially if Warrior is always the worst, right? Like you get like Shield Slam. It's like, well, great, I'm not a druid, so dead card. So go ahead and convince me as we go through this. The next card is not in this camp, however. This is the Cutthroat Buccaneer, a 3-mana 2/4 common rogue pirate that has a combo that gives your weapon +1 attack. Continue that Kingsbane rogue deck, everyone.
Yeah.
Kingsbane rogue, definitely. I don't know, just making your dagger have one more attack. The 3-mana 2/4 bodies, like, whatever. But maybe there's something that can be done with
it's not
here.
just straight up battle cry. So
yeah. I mean, that does make it worse, definitely. Yeah. But like that Kingsbane rogue deck just wanted more of these effects, right? They just want as many of these effects as they can get.
Yeah, very true.
But they don't have Cold Light Oracle anymore, though, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if that deck is a thing without the Cold Light, right?
Yeah.
Because that was kind of their alternate win condition, was that they also milled you a little bit, and then they started smashing you in the face with this giant weapon.
And
is that-
And they
more
drew into their
ways
deck a
to
lot and
draw-
found it.
Yeah, exactly. They had more ways to draw their deck, which they totally wanted to be doing.
Is that
Yep.
is that how they win? Because I've never seen one win.
Really?
I play one on my EU account because it was the rogue deck I could build. Like I couldn't build any other one, so I did, and I was like, okay, this works more often than I expected, but it is still a weaker deck in the meta. Like it's
Oh, they're losing Naga Corsair as well. Thanks, chat room. I forgot
that's
about that
that's
one.
a big one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, so it's like this. I don't know. I see this being like a decent arena card, unless Kingsbane Rogue is still a thing. I don't see it being played anywhere in Standard.
Yeah. I get it with Kingsbane, by the way. Kingsbane, I think is just one of the coolest cards we've gotten in a while, and I think the deck is fun to play. I only jest because in my climb to Dad Legend, I was very happy when I went up against the Kingsbane Rogue because it was pretty much a guaranteed win.
Yeah, usually you win.
Yeah. Mr. Wraith is next. A 4-mana 3/5 rare rogue minion that reads whenever you play an Echo card. Game +1/+1. There are some Echo cards.
Yes.
Well, they only have one class specific one, right? So then they'll probably have to probably fit in a couple of neutral ones as well.
Yeah. However, the class card, I'm gonna advance forward to the class card because it's Pickpocket. It's a 2-mana rare rogue spell. It has Echo, and it reads, add a random card to your hand from your opponent's class. So if the opponent's class rogue takes off, you're running Pickpocket, I think you might run Mr. Wraith anyway.
Maybe.
Yeah, like if Pickpocket turns out to actually be a really good thing. Oh no, they get Cheap Shot, don't they? They get 2.
Oh yeah, Cheap Shot. Sorry, we
They
talked
get
about
2.
that last week.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, 2 might be enough. That's 4 cards in the deck. That might be enough. They probably still have to run 1 neutral.
I mean, a 4-mana 3/5 isn't bad in its own right. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
It's headed in the direction I would prefer to be. I want it to be heavier in the health so it sticks around when it has an effect like this. So, yeah, I think if I'm opening myself to a world where random opponent's class rogue is a thing, then maybe Mist Wraith is a thing. So,
Yeah. It's
other-
just weird. It's like I just have to I have to see this stuff in action, man.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, upside is definitely there, but how often do I get this upside, right?
Chat room's also yelling Face Collector. That's I think, did we talk about that
they're
last
legendary.
week? Their
That's
other
definitely-
legendary?
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely
So I
talk
guess
about Face Collector.
Yeah, okay. So you get five options in the class. 5 total cards that can be in your deck.
Yeah.
That is true. Although Face Collector's just inconsistent, man. It's
Yeah,
inconsistent.
Face Collector is the one that adds the random. It has Echo and adds the random legendary.
Yeah,
Your hand.
I mean, it's cheaper, unlike Toki, so I like it a little better. But also, the art's just awesome on Face Collector, so I'm predisposed to like it. It's creepy. But shall we just go ahead and move straight to Test Greymane then? Because it kind of pulls everything together from the discussion
Yeah,
we've been
this is
having.
an important card to
interesting.
know it exists.
Yeah,
for
so
this whole thing.
Test Greymane is the other rogue legendary that we haven't talked about already. It's an 8-mana 6/6 legendary minion. Test Greymane has a battle cry that reads replace every card, or sorry, not replace, replay every card from another class you played this game, targets chosen randomly. So this is kind of this is your plan, right? If you're building your deck around generating random cards from your opponent's class and playing them, your goal is to eventually drop Test Greymane on the board and insanity ensues.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're playing a Test Greymane deck, then you're probably, I would think, if it was me, I would be very careful about the spells or the cards that I played. I would be, playing things like Flame Strike or, like things that if it has a random, air quotes random, target, it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing for me. Like I'm not going to play necessarily a Fireball because I don't want to Fireball my minions or my face. Like, so I'm going to look for stuff that just targets my enemies potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, they need to have like maybe some sort of other beneficial effect, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah, drawing cards and things like
Like
that.
a Firelands portal or something.
Yeah.
Where even if the damage goes on your side, you still
Yeah.
get the minion that goes along
Like, so I
with it.
like that it's like a Yagi style effect, but that you can kind of decide whether you want to cast these cards or not before you play him, and then maybe
because
hold on
you know
to things
exactly what cards she's going to play,
Yeah.
right? Because you've
Yeah,
already
yeah.
played them. So
like
there
that. So
is
it's a little
that
more
element
skill
of
testing than a
control.
Yagi where you just slam it and hope, right? Like
Yes.
you at least can, decide, okay, this card is one I want in the pool, this one is one I don't want in the pool. It's weird. It's weird, and it's like I'm not convinced that this is really good, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And then if it turns out to be just amazing, then yeah, like Blink Fox and Pickpocket and stuff like that are definitely cards that go in this deck, right? So yeah, it's a
she's
card that
very
makes me
similar
think.
to Lanessa in Paladin, right? And so they happen in the same order that you've played them.
I think so. Yeah.
I believe it works like Shudderwalk, which we haven't talked about yet, which is, it's the same order. Like if you were found a way to play test more than once, it would be the same order every time.
Yeah. And yeah, again, you can, these are saying all random cards. None of these are all random spells. So a lot of times, you'll get a random minion from the opponent's class that you will play, and then you will replay that minion. This will just fill your board back up sometimes, like a la N'Zoth type thing.
Yeah.
So,
I think she's pretty powerful, but like you said, skill testing, which I think powerful cards should be skill testing. I'm excited to see what Rogue looks like.
Oh, wait.
When we get into our first HCTs.
Here we go. Actually, I found clarification by, it looks like Danae on Reddit. Answers a question that we haven't asked yet, which was, what happens to the Tess if she kills herself? According to Danae, she functions like pre-nerve Yogg. So this effect will still be happening.
It keeps going.
And then further down the line, it was asked, are the cards played in a specific order, like buff spells on Lanessa, or is it ordered randomly? And Danae replied, random.
Interesting.
Why?
I don't know. And
I
so
disagree with
Fortune Monger
that.
is saying Brode confirmed random order during the reveal stream. Yeah, Brode did say random order for the Shudder Walk.
No, I thought he said Shudderwalk was the same order. I thought he confirmed that Shudderwalk...
Brode said random, but he didn't sound very sure of himself.
Huh.
But, I mean, at least she works like pre-nerf Yogg, so you're always going to get all those spells. I mean, if she could, hex herself or something and then stopped the spells, then that would be bad.
Mm-hmm.
But because she keeps going, that was what made Yogg so powerful in the first place. That, the fact that Yogg, if something happened to him, stopped casting, that was the nerf we were calling for. So I think that makes her powerful, so...
Interesting. So... People are saying that they said it was in the right order, and then now it's actually random. They corrected themselves. I don't know. This is all... Those things definitely matter a lot, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you can control the order of things, then... but it is Hearthstone. You oftentimes can't control the order of things quite so much. So
It is weird that it's a random order, though.
I mean, it doesn't bother me as much with something like this. You're getting the cards in a random order. You're not going to have that much control. If you're holding cards that would help you now because you think the order would be better when you play test Gray Man, it's probably bad. That's very greedy.
That's true. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I don't think it's that important.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, because you're going to be putting this together as you play your game. You're not going to have nearly as much control over it as you will something like Shudderwalk. Again, I haven't talked about it yet, but I assume if you're listening to this, you're probably in the know about Shudderwalk.
So I'm guessing then minions with battle cries will target randomly, all that kind of anything that
has a target
will all just be targeted randomly, right?
Anything that has a target,
because it does say replay, so I would assume that you would get battle cries then, because it doesn't say you're not just summoning minions that you played from other classes.
Now,
you're replaying every card, so I would say battle cries are still in that pool.
Now there's one thing about this that is super sketchy, and that is rogue mirror matches.
Oh wait, here we go. Battle cries of minions will not trigger. It's another source.
What?
All right.
Yeah, battle cries of minions will not. Man, Danae is the fun killer.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal.
That's a really big deal.
In a rogue mirror match, you basically have a 8-mana 6/6, right? Because it's you can still pickpocket them, you can still do all that stuff, but then they're not from another class. They're from your class.
Oh.
They didn't say not from your deck.
Yeah.
And here's probably the most insane clarification is that if you steal a hero card and you play it and you become that class, Tess will then play your rogue cards instead of what you've been stealing all game.
Wait, what?
Because she thinks you're another class at that point?
Yes.
So then she'll replay all the rogue cards?
Confirmed by
Wow.
She'll replay all your cards.
I looked for these clarifications earlier. I could not find them, and I must have just not. Yeah.
You know, that makes sense, actually. That does make sense.
It makes sense from a coding perspective, but that's crazy.
That's really cool. That is kind of makes up for the fact that your battle cries don't trigger. Even though I would argue they should, because this says play.
You shouldn't necessarily rely on that to make tests good, though. I mean, how often are your random opponent class cards going to generate a Death Knight?
Listen, I'm not saying that makes me want to play Tess. I'm just saying that is a really cool interaction.
I mean, I actually think that is consistent because, you know, if you turn into like Jiraxis, like you got Warlock victories and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But still.
I think it makes sense because, you're no longer your original class. You have turned
you become
into
that Death Knight.
You become that class. Yeah. So that does make sense.
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just, I don't know. Hearthstone in the past, you never know which way they're going to go. Like if they'll go the way that makes sense, or they go the way that just is better for coding or for sequence of events or for the health of the game. Mm-hmm. So we're never quite sure.
This is a card that I want to play with. It's going to be a fun card to stream. It's going to be a fun card to mess with. Is it going to be a competitive card? I don't know.
Man, at the beginning of this rogue rundown, you made it seem like you were a lot more on board for this than.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, but I mean, I was just like saying like that this card actually makes these other cards like somewhat more playable, right? Like, and I stand by that. I don't think I was saying like, oh, by the way, this deck is going to be insane. Wait till we get to this other card. It was just like, we have to.
They all work together.
These
you
cards
have to talk about them together.
Yeah, you can't evaluate these cards without talking about this card, right?
Okay.
And I was like,
fair enough.
This card is the card that like these cards then become, because without this card, I don't think you ever play Blink Fox,
right?
Like, because I was kind of saying like why Blink Fox is like a better card than the other ones, because standalone 3/3 just get a card is better, I think, than 1/1 get a card, but yet, like the fact that you don't get the patches, that's the big deal. But then now, like the fact that you don't get the patches is maybe offset by test grading. Yeah, we'll see.
Makes sense. Let's move on to Shaman. Ghost Light Anglers kicking us off. A 2-mana 2/2 common Shaman Murloc with Echo.
Cool. Maybe.
Cool, maybe.
Untie the Murlocs.
Yeah. Awesome. Also, wouldn't mind this in Arena.
Oh no, yeah, this seems actually like a very cool Arena card, because every now and then, things go kind of south or whatever, my board gets cleared and I'm just like, hey, 10 mana, fill my board up with 2/2.
Also, right? It has Echo. Please make a pretty traditional Murloc gurgle sound, since you'll be replaying it multiple times. I don't want some weird like, oh, no, I want like, oh,
like it's
over
already
and over
echoing.
and over again, please.
It just seems to me like there's some decent value here. Yeah, quests, obviously, like that's going to be good. It's just, are those decks good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice to just have like the ability to just refill your board whenever you need to.
Yep.
Yeah. I like Ghost Light Angler. I don't know if it's standard, if it finds a standard home right out the gate, but overall I like this card.
Mm-hmm.
Zap is next, and when I saw the art for this, I was like, getting Crackle vibes, but it's okay, everyone. It's okay. Yep. Zap is a 0-mana common shaman spell that just deals 2 damage to a minion and overloads you for 1. There's no randomness in this at all. It does a thing. You know what it's going to do, and it always does that thing.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic card, too.
Yeah, Overload is like the condition on the spell or the drawback, because like rogues have basically the exact same spell in Backstab, except you have to have an undamaged minion to target. This lets you target anything, but then overloads you.
But this allows you to get early game tempo, which is so huge.
And Overload can be okay, right? They've got, Shaman's got a few ways to take advantage of Overload, so.
They do.
Well, think about how Arena things kind of play out, right? Where like I look at this card and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't wait for this to be an Arena Shaman card. They're gonna be so much better. But like in the early game, like one of the big problems is like they play a minion, especially when they have like they go first, they have the initiative. They play a minion, you kind of like play a minion that hopefully responds to it, but sometimes it doesn't, and then their minion just continues coming at you. And like, so here it's like I could fit the minion in with the removal of another thing, and it's like now they don't have that option anymore. We reversed the tempo, essentially. We reversed the like initiative,
and
that's like so huge in those games.
In standard, they're also losing Jade Claws, which did a similar
one
thing,
of the ways
right?
to do it. Yeah,
Helped you that. Helped you
remove
with that.
something and put something on the board at the same time, so you kind of flipped initiative. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this is just a good card, all around.
Yeah.
All around good card.
Yeah, I think so.
Craft it if we were using that thing I talked about that we're not actually using. Blazing Invocation is next. Blazing Invocation is a 1-mana rare shaman spell that discovers a battle cry minion. And
does that mean battle cry is a thing for shaman?
I don't know, Dills. Maybe battle cry is a thing. Yeah, I mean, no discount, no nothing. Had I not seen Shudderwalk, I would have been like, this is okay, I guess. But now that we know Shudderwalk exists, I think this is a solid card that probably has a home at launch.
I mean, 1 mana, just find a minion and get it. Like, it's funny because, again, like, I think in a standard deck, you might not just want a thing where you just find more minions, right? But I always look at these kind of cards and it's like, if there's synergy, then sure. But here, like in Arena, I'm always like, I mean, sometimes it's just good to find a card that then allows me to kind of do another Arena pick later on, right? And find a card that specifically matches the situation, as this card kind of does. But then you got some support for this battle cry thing, and
we haven't.
That's where this card really like maybe edges its way into standard play.
It's also
it's not even just support for Battlecry cards, right? This is also, we were talking about just shaman spells in general because there were so many effects that seemed to be like, oh, get a random shaman spell, and we were like, but the pool is crap. And I feel like we got 3 shaman spells in these reveals, and I think that really, they all seem to be fairly powerful, and I'm kind of okay with the shaman pool. I think it got better.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, they're better. Yeah,
they should have led with these and ended.
Yes, and then be like, hey,
that's what
we're doing fun random things.
So they should have done that. And we also haven't mentioned hand fixing for Blazing Invocation. That's the other good thing about Discover. Like if you have an awkward hand, like if you draw poorly and Blazing Invocation is in your hand, you can then hopefully discover a low cost minion that lets you just do something, get on board earlier into the game. And that is worth something.
You can like spend 1 mana on this and then find like, oh, I have 4 mana remaining. I'll pick the 4 cost card here, and then I get to do something this turn.
And you get the battle cry effect, so.
You know it's going to have a battle cry. So,
a specific pool of minions. Yeah. And there's some good ones think about like fire elementals and stuff like that. There's some good ones in Shaman, so.
Yep. Let's move on and talk about another shaman spell, Earthen Might. 2 mana rare shaman spell reads, give a minion +2/+2. If it's an elemental, add a random elemental to your hand.
Elemental shaman getting some support.
Yep.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, sure.
And they've already got some good elementals in their base set.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, this is a card that, again, it's an initiative style card, right? It's like you get to make a value trade that you couldn't have made, and then keep your minion around, and then you're also doing value things. So it's like initiative and value all wrapped into one little fun package. Like, yeah, if you're playing an elemental style deck, yes. And the fact is, you're also adding more elementals for sure. It's not just random card; it's random elementals. So it's it means that you can continue like kind of feed the elemental train, right? Keep that train rolling.
And again, with the random shaman spell thing, not the worst random spell in the world to get. Like even if you're not running elementals, if you get this randomly, it's still 2 mana for a 2/2 buff on any minion. So I like it.
And if you're playing the Hag of the deck, you're playing tons and tons of minions and then a few spells. This would be like one of the spells I think you'd do because
and this is a spell that gives a minion. So again, you're just constantly feeding those engines.
Feed the beast.
Yeah, it is random, so Shaman's gonna get a little bit nuts, but
Shaman is gonna be the most random crap of all time. They kind of already that's been one of their things, right?
Yeah, I mean, ever since Evolve Devolve was a thing.
Yeah.
Ever since their hero power.
Well, ever since their hero power.
Well, yeah.
Here's your hero power. There are 4 things. You'll get one of them. Who knows which one? Don't ask. Totem Cruncher is next, and this is he's such a good boy. Totem Cruncher is a 4 mana 2/3 epic shaman beast, an adorable shaman beast with taunts and a battle cry that reads, destroy your totems, gain +2/+2 for each destroyed.
He looks so angry. What do you mean adorable?
He's
a porcupine beaver.
It's Matt Dixon art, I'm pretty sure. So Matt Dixon draws some cute stuff. This is the man that brought us a Noyotron.
Still one of my all-time faves.
Sure. This card seems like it's got a lot of potential, but I need to mess with this card because I think the problem here is it does give you something where these other totem cards we got in the last expansion maybe now can come together and make a thing. But I don't know if this one card alone is we remember when Totem Shaman was a thing, we had the ability to like buff all the totems that were on the board and stuff like that. It's like here I'm like killing all my totems, and then I'm getting this one buffed up minion. Is that enough to make the Totem Shaman thing real? I don't know.
I mean,
but it's like I want to mess with it and find out.
Yeah, I don't think this is standard. I think a Totem Shaman would be wild, right?
I mean, you can definitely put it in your, but in wild, like I don't think
you never want to kill your totem golem. Yeah,
I want to buff them.
Yeah.
I think if mid-range shaman becomes a thing in standard, that there's an argument for this because if you just crunch one totem, this is a solid minion.
You get a Yeti with
taunt. You get a 4/5. Yeah.
If you crunch 2, hell yeah.
Sure, but you need to be able to you spent 2 mana. Yes, there's ways to get around that, but generally, you spent 2 mana on that totem, so it is utilizing them if your opponents this is one more reason why opponents will always have to kill your totems.
Yeah.
Which
is something they're probably trying to do anyways.
Yeah.
But
sure.
Yeah, but we've also got Zap, so we can still keep tempo while making totems. So I'm not so quick to write off Totem Cruncher.
Sure, that's the thing about it. Is I feel like there's potential here. I just feel like it's not. This isn't oh damn, this is definitely good. It's that deck needs to work. All the other facets of it need to work.
Yeah.
And then this is the thing that finishes the games for you, I guess. So
yeah, well, if for me on Prince Liam, if I was on wait and see, leaning towards this is bad. This is wait and see, leaning towards I think this is good.
Okay, fair.
I think that's where I would land on Totem Cruncher, and then of course the card we came to discuss, Shudderwalk. Is the final shaman card to talk about. 9 mana, 6/6 legendary minion for shamans with a battle cry that reads, repeat all other battle cries from cards you played this game. Target's chosen randomly.
All right, well, so the one thing I see that's wrong with this is sometimes battle cries are put a minion on the board. A lot of times they're deal damage. You might just not have the board space to ever make this totally worth it, So that's one of the things I see that's a problem with it. But the main problem is it costs 9, right?
Well, so the thing that they showed on stream was they played. Oh my God, what's it? How long can this go on?
How long can this go on?
A couple of times. Oh, Serenite Chain Gang.
Yes.
Yeah, Serenite Chain Gang. Okay, so you just get a bunch of Serenite Chain Gangs. Yeah.
Well, no, you don't get the Serenite Chain Gangs. You get the 6/6s because it plays the battle cry says.
Because it battle cries off of Shudderwalk.
It battle cries from the Shudderwalk, so you get 6/6.
Yeah, so if you play specific battle cries, then that makes a lot of sense, right?
It was really fun. I know you missed the stream. Go back and watch it. It was really fun watching Benbow try to explain Shudderwalk to Day 9 because he wasn't getting it, and I wasn't getting it. When Benbow was explaining it, I was just like, no, I don't. Huh? This makes no... What? I had to see it played. Because I thought exactly like you did, Dills, that Serenite Chain Gang, I play Shudderwalk and I just get a bunch of Serenite Chain Gangs. But no, you
let
get
me
a bunch
ask
of
you this. Was the order the same as the order, or is this another random thing? Because what if you play a Totem Cruncher at some point in your game, you crunch, and then you get that battle cry in the pool. You play the Serenite Chain Gang, you get that one in the pool. Then you play, you get a Doppelgangster in the pool. Then you play a Shudderwalk with 4 totems on the board. And then the Shudderwalk gains +4 or +8/+8, then starts copying himself a bunch of times with the +8/+8. Could you do things like this?
Well, yeah, because they show, it's definitely, when you've got the Serenite Chain Gang buff in the pool, it definitely, pardon me?
Oh, Doppelgangster rotated, apparently. Chat said, but.
Well, it's still a wild
so
thing.
If you've got the summon a copy of this minion, it will copy all the buffs and stuff. So, and I mean, they said it was random, but it seemed to be the same every time because they played this in 4 or 5 times in the game that was on stream, and it seemed like it was the same every time. But yeah.
I
It
mean,
will
yeah,
definitely pop in the buff anyways,
I'm seeing
but you're
some
right.
stuff
Order
here that's
does
very
matter.
specific,
Sure.
but that seems like a thing that could actually happen enough
Mhm.
times to where this seems really kind of sometimes insane.
Yeah.
Like if you just don't play a whole bunch of random battle cries, you play like specific ones and you try to kind of like draw through your deck and control, and then you Shudderwalk. It's just like boom, here's a whole bunch of minions. Like deal with it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Chat room's
Kind
also
of like
got a
what
good
Nizoth
point.
always did, right?
Yeah, the battle cries off the Death Knights will also be done again from Shudderwalk.
Mhm.
So
So you'll do the Hagatha thing, like again?
Any
If you played
Could, yep.
Hagatha? Yeah.
any battle cry that took place, like it gets
Yeah.
attached to Shudderwalk, and it's nuts.
it can be crazy. Yeah.
But
Alright.
but you have so much control over it because you can just
Mhm.
build a battle cry deck. You can put battle cries you want to stack up in your deck. Like I'm so much more on board for Shudderwalk versus Tess because you get to control what happens.
What
Alright,
I
here
am
we go.
really curious about though is if you play Thrall Deathseer, then Shudderwalk. If Shudderwalk transforms himself into another minion, do the battle cries keep going?
Well, there's also
So-
a chance that he could kill himself via certain battle cries as well.
Yes.
So if Tess is, I have not seen, I can't see it in writing because I'm not finding a similar post to what I found for Tess. But I would assume if Tess is coded like
Yeah,
pre-nerf
Tess
Yogg,
works this way,
that
like old
Shudderwalk-
school Yogg. I would think that Shudderwalk would too.
I would
All right,
hope
how about
so.
this? You Shudderwalk,
whatever it is,
you
it's,
Shudderwalk, and then you like with those specific battle cards we already talked about, the Serenite Chain Gang and the Totem Cruncher, right?
Right?
It crunches all your totems. Then the one other battle cry that you've done is Grumble World Shaker, and then you just pull like 4 or 5 Shudderwalks back into your hand after you play it, and they all cost 1, and then you re-Shudderwalk again. I guess it wouldn't work
Yeah,
though because you just
every-
keep putting them back into your hand. I was
Well,
just thinking
every
of crazy
Shudderwalk
things.
that
This
you
would be so
played
funny because you
does
just
the
never
cycle
ever
again.
like stop just like putting a bunch of minions on the board and then putting them back in your hand.
Yeah.
It would be hilarious. I want to do that. I want to see if that actually can happen. And your opponent's like, "Hey, dude, you're not gonna win."
yeah, it seems like whatever your question is, the answer is yes.
The random part is what really matters here, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
All
Shudderwalk,
right, I just want to try this now.
probably the most bonkers card in the set, and probably a really good card in the set. So
But yeah, if you did just the Serenite in this, and then the order was specific, you'd basically just like keep putting Shudderwalks onto the board, making another one, pulling them back into your hand.
yeah.
Like you'd never ever be able to get anything to stay on the board. It would be
Yeah.
hilarious.
Get yourself a Shudderwalk. All right. Let's move into Warlock. My God, we're at 2 hours.
Yeah.
All right, Fiendish Circle. 4 mana, common Warlock spell, summon 4 1/1 imps.
Okay.
This is pretty lackluster.
Yeah.
I think
Right
this
up
one
there
we
with
can
the
just
Druid
go
card,
like,
it's
this is not that good.
Yeah. Why do you want 1/1s on turn 4?
6 mana, Knife Juggler combo.
Mm.
Maybe.
I would say if there was more demon synergy, then like, okay, I can see this, but there's not really.
There's a little
Well,
bit.
and
I
it's
mean,
not-
we had demon synergies with the 4 mana 5/4 guy that buffed them all, right? But
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
This doesn't excite
as
me.
of right now, again, down the road, who knows? Also, just thumbs up on this art. I love this art. Absolutely love it. Witchwood Imp is next. A 1 mana 1/1 common Warlock demon that has stealth and a death rattle that reads, give a random friendly minion +2 health.
the
Eh.
blood imp that can attack that then buffs one minion like twice.
Yes.
Maybe.
Well,
Arena.
it does have to die. The thing about Blood Imp was it was a constant
Yeah, it just sat on the
health
board doing its
generation.
thing.
It just sat on the board and did stuff.
But
This
it never
has to die.
saw play until that people started playing stuff where then they could make it start attacking again, and then it became like a potentially useful body, right?
Mhm.
I could see this being like some zoo cards are going to be lost. I could see this being like a card where zoo is just like, yeah, here's another decent card that helps buff the rest of my board. The fact that it's stealth means I can usually play it, keep it on the board, and then play other stuff the next turn, and then trade it off, and then get that effect still, right? So
Yeah, that's true.
it's possible. It's just it's not. It wouldn't be like one of the strongest cards in the zoo deck. It would just be another one of the cards that does zoo style things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And then I would say average arena minion.
Yeah.
Blood Witch. I really wanted this to be Brood Witch for the Aqua Teen fan in me, but this is Blood Witch. We missed it. It's actually been out for a while. We just missed it over the past few weeks. It's a 4-mana 3/6 rare minion for Warlocks that reads, at the start of your turn, deal 1 damage to your hero.
So it seems like you're trying to enable the Dusk Bat and the Death Web Spider is the idea here. But I don't think that the benefit of a 4-mana 3/6 with no other power is enough to make it worth, right?
Like in the grand scheme of things and Warlock downsides, it's not that bad. It's actually pretty tame.
Sure.
You're not discarding things. You're not taking big chunks of damage.
Yeah.
I think this is something that looks to me evidence of more cards of that nature coming down the pipeline. I don't think we're there yet.
Potentially,
I don't think there's enough. But this is just suspicious, man. I'm looking at this like, I think I see where you might be heading with Warlock.
I feel like maybe once all of the Year of the Mammoth stuff rotates out, that we might see people start to play with that kind of a Warlock. But in a world where Q-Block exists and those friggin' Void Lords exist, I just don't see any other type of Warlock getting played.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just...
I mean, people are saying Spellstone Activator. I feel like we didn't really need another Spellstone Activator, but that is true. I just think that wasn't really ever an issue for Warlocks.
Yeah. Frankly, a lot of the Warlock conversation is going to have to take place in a hypothetical future scenario.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Warlock's going to look very different at all after the jump.
Yeah. None of this stuff seems like we're going to now switch away from Q-Block. Like, we need to get a Void Daddy nerf before that ever happens.
Yeah. Yep. Curse of Weakness is next. A 2-mana rare Warlock spell with Echo. Give all enemy minions -2 attack until your next turn.
Okay.
Yep.
Seems a little more priesty.
Well, yeah, it's like, why am I totally blanking on the priest card?
Pint-sized potion?
Yes, thank you. All I could think is Shadow Word Horror, and I was like, no, that's the wrong half of the combo.
Yeah, that's just one part of it. Yeah. It basically is that it's...
But with Echo.
But the fact that you can echo it and like really decide and then start making like as many, you cast it 4 times or whatever, and it's like -8, and then you can start killing off giants with the whatever minions you got on board.
Yeah,
like, sure.
Yeah.
This is one card that I have I think there's a discussion to be had now because I want to try and make this work in Zoo. Zoo is about board control.
Yeah.
This enables board control.
Yeah,
that's
this
true.
Is
And
definitely
you
value
have
trading.
minions.
Yeah.
And you have minions that are small and things like that.
And it does last. Chat room, you're right. It does last over your opponent's next turn too.
Yes.
So it's not just till the end of your turn. So then they don't have the ability to do as much damage. So that is also true. If they've got a big giant board and you're about to die, you can Curse of Weakness them into oblivion, and then you won't die that turn.
Sure. I mean, you could do that. You could Curse of Weakness them and then just go face, and then just get like another turn to go face, right? If they can't.
Yeah, I think this says
there's stuff.
Yeah, I'm just yelling Zoo potential at the top of my lungs for Curse of Weakness. That's it.
And control potential too, but it's just a matter of like, is this the tool that they actually need in those types of decks?
No, because they can just play a 3/9 with taunt and never take damage.
Okay.
And this doesn't help them not take damage from mage spells. So that's I don't think that control needs it.
There's also apparently a combo. We haven't talked about Mossy Horror yet, but.
That's the destroy everything with 2 or less
attack. Yeah. So there's like potentially a 10-mana board clear that leaves behind your minions, right?
That's true. That'll be on the neutral episode. Dark Possession is next. A 1-mana rare Warlock spell that deals 2 damage to a friendly character. Discover a demon.
Yep.
That's
so
pretty
you
much.
Could damage yourself. Again, another activators. Potentially.
Yeah, character, not minion. So you can
character,
so you can go to your own face.
In the face.
It's weird to say you can go face with this with a spell where you can only damage yourself, but yes, you can absolutely go face with this and enable some of the cards that are coming in with this expansion that have upsides for damaging yourself. But yeah, I'm gonna just file this into things like Blood Witch and whatnot, where I'm saying I don't think there's enough upside from the cards coming in to make us suddenly abandon things like Control, Cube, or even Zoolock.
Well, but it is Discover a Demon, right? So, I mean, they are losing a couple, like they're losing Nazoth, they're losing Mistress of Mixtures. So there's a couple of spaces in that deck that you could potentially put stuff in. And any other way to discover more Doom Guards and Void Lords? I mean,
Yeah, if you discover more Doom Guards and Void Lords with consistency, and you're playing Skull of the Minari, then
it is discover,
this seems
right?
Really,
it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
this
not
seems really
just get
strong
a
in those
random
potential
demon.
situations because you put them into your hand and then you can Skull of Minari them onto the board, and they lose a few things, and then the replacement for them, I'm guessing, is probably that King Joffrey guy or Lord Godfrey. Sorry,
Yeah,
King Joffrey.
King Joffrey.
King Joffrey.
Lord Godfrey
Wrong
guy.
guys.
I think he goes in there, things like that. But yeah, like the fact that you can discover those cards, and they probably are fairly consistent because there's not a lot of non-class demons though, so I don't know.
Yeah,
it might be hard to find them.
Chat room saying it's not better than Lackey, but you don't have to cut Lackey to put this in. Like I said, they're losing Mistress.
It's also another way to kill Lackey, by the
Actually,
way.
oh yeah. Oh, okay,
play
never mind.
Lackey for one more mana. Like
How did I not
sometimes
even
you
think
didn't
of that?
have the way to actually kill him. And
Well, yeah, because if you don't have Dark Pact, well, now you have Dark Possession, and you can kill your Lackey and discover a demon on top of that.
Very true.
Yep.
How did I not think of that? I feel really dumb. I quit now. I'm tired. All right. Final Warlock card, Rat Catcher. I love the art on this one. This is a 3-mana 2/2 epic Warlock minion with Rush and a battle cry that destroys a friendly minion and gain its attack and health. Well, since we're on the train already, Cabal Lackey. Yay!
Sure.
Yeah.
Or frankly,
Another way to kill your Wallaki. Fine.
In recent games, kill my Rin against a priest.
Kill your cube.
Well, this is kind of like friggin' eat your minions on either side and gain the thing. Oh my God.
Void. Oh.
Terror?
It's old school. Nobody plays it ever.
I know the one you're talking about.
Void Terror.
Void Terror. Yeah.
So, you can also kill cubes. You can kill possessed lackeys. You can do stuff like, pretty good things. But I also kind of think of it as, Void Terror-ish type stuff where gaining that bigger body means, and then the fact that it has Rush means you can instantly use it.
Yep.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I like
this
Rat
card
Catcher.
could definitely be another one of the cards that ends up replacing some stuff that goes away in the Q block, right?
Yeah.
It's like another freaking. Why did they give more Q block tools? What the hell?
I don't know.
Void
Like
Lord...
I said, I wish they just got 9 cards that were 10 mana, do nothing.
Or
just screw you, Warlock.
just a very somber one light on Ben Brode comes on. He's just center frame. He's just like, hey everybody, I want to level with you. Warlock's fine. They're not getting any new cards.
Yeah. We are giving each class 1 extra card and Warlock none. I like it.
We hope you understand, and we look forward to the ushering in this new age. All right, well, we got 3 cards left, and they're all warrior cards, starting with Rabid Worgen, a 3-mana 3/3 common warrior minion with Rush. This has got to be the most straightforward damn card we've talked about today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't they get... but they did get a thing that buffs Rush stuff or something, right? Didn't they?
Well, they have Woodcutter's Axe that
Woodcutter's
has
Axe, that's the one I'm thinking of. Sure. So
The
if you
weapon,
could play Woodcutter's Axe on 2, attack once, and then play this on 3, attack again, and now you've got a 5/4 with Rush for 3. Yeah, pretty good.
It's not hard to pull off.
Yeah, that's not that crazy, and that situation seems like it might come up fairly often. So, it's possible if you're playing a Rush-themed deck. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think especially with one of the cards we're going to talk about in a minute, I really do think that Warrior is going to be the one to take advantage of the kind of control with minions Rush style deck. I really think that they got a lot of support. So
yeah, they did, and that's the key is what's going to be their finisher, right?
Yeah,
because they never actually is their finisher going to be that they keep killing your minions with Rush minions and their minions are left alive and they can start hitting face, or is the finisher going to be something like Gromish and things like that, or some combo?
It's going to be the tower.
Is the finisher going to be the tower? Okay.
It's going to be the tower.
It could happen. I mean, incidental damage could just... It's not...
Yeah.
It's not completely unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So Rabid Worgen, I think, has some potential there. Let's move on and talk about Fester Root Hulk, which is a 5-mana 2/7. It's a rare minion for warriors. After a friendly minion attacks, gain +1 attack. Well, considering a lot of these minions have rush, that's going to be happening a lot.
Yeah. But how many minions do you think need to attack the turn you play it for this to be like good? Do you think it's 2?
I'm not
Like,
sure.
the thing is, it's still like an engine after that, right? That can
it keeps
continually
going.
go up.
Yeah.
And it buffs itself. So
This is in line with what was it? The Paladin minion, the Paragon of Light. Like it has 5 health. Like you can just play it, and there's a good chance it's going to stick around for you to buff it.
But like with the 5-cost Berserker card never really caught on, and like this guy. This thing is like this feels like. And it's the exact same body actually. The turn you play it for the exact same mana cost. Right. It's like, is this something that's easier to start triggering and be, and then like that turns the tide? Like that's really what we have to kind of see. But it's true. Like with Rush, it seems like it should be a little easier to get. Maybe 1 minion's on the board. You play this with a Rush minion, and now you've made a 5-mana 4/7 that the opponent like has to kill.
Yeah,
right?
and you're not intentionally removing health from it, where that's what you were doing with the Berserker.
Yeah. It does, smoke in the chat as if it buffs itself. Yeah, it just says after a friendly minion attack. So it is a friendly minion. So,
yeah,
I mean, it won't buff itself
when
on the attack, right? It'll happen after. But,
right.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
And it doesn't say attack face either. It's just attack, right? So, yeah.
Yep. They need I would like a card to say attack face. Like, legitimately face. Like, put face in the game.
Well, you get the freaking Flappy Bird. Flappy Bird. There you go. There's your attack face minion.
It was when it attacks a hero, right? It doesn't actually say face.
Oh, you wanted to say face.
I wanted to literally say face.
All right,
I want them to just
Hey,
be
yeah,
like.
I just want to see the smork icon on Hearthstone cards.
They should make smork rather than a keyword. It's just
They
smork.
just
is
have
the new-
key image.
The little emoji, the
key
smork emoji. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Just this green pixelated orc, colon, and then whatever it does when you go face.
Yes.
It's so good. Oh, please make that happen. Yeah. I like Fessor Root Hulk. Of all of the Rush, I like, even though this isn't a Rush on itself, but I think of the Rush cards, I think this goes into it. I'm not the
It
most.
supports the archetype, I think.
Yeah, it supports the archetype. I'm not the most excited for it, but I'm leaning in its favor.
Okay.
Well,
All
I
right.
mean, I think of, I guess, Ali Armorsmith was the same body with the same cost, right?
Yeah.
And that was always a pain in the ass to deal with. And granted, it was giving armor and had taunt too, right?
Yeah, it had
but
taunt, yeah.
Like,
so it was,
I feel like
it was mostly there for Taunt Warrior just as another taunt minion.
Yeah, but I feel like because I remember how difficult that minion was to deal with, like 7 is just kind of an awkward number to deal with around this point in the game. So I feel like you're probably going to get this to stick around if you play it on 5. Plus, you're probably going to have a minion or 2 already on board. So I don't know. I think this is going to be really good for Warrior.
Yeah, and the fact that it doesn't have taunt means it's even more likely to not take damage and survive and get whittled away.
Right, you wanted Armorsmith to have taunt because you wanted them to have to run into
gain
it,
that
right?
health.
Yeah. Whereas you want Hulk to hang around and just grow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to put taunt minions in front of it. That's what you want to do.
I should probably go back to that card for the visual, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Even more in Hulk's favor now. Good point. All right. Final card for this episode. Town Crier is a 1-mana 1/2 epic warrior minion that has a battle cry that reads, draw a rush minion from your deck.
I think I talked about this last week, but anytime you're drawing a very specific type of minion or card from your deck, it's good.
Yep.
So drawing
Usually,
a specific, like a targeted draw from your deck, thumbs up. Town Crier, thumbs up.
And
Rush Warrior, thumbs up.
also 1-mana 1/2, thumbs up.
Yeah.
It could have been a 1/1, and I would still probably play it.
Yeah, because I mean, it has a better battle cry draw effect than Babbling Book, and Babbling Book saw a lot of play as a 1/1/1. So 1/1/2 draw and targeted draw, not random. Sign me up.
Yep. Anything else on Town Crier?
Nope.
Speak now or forever hold your sweet release from talking about cards, at least for now. We're actually, I'm going to release the podcast over the course of 2 days so I don't inundate our listeners with too much to listen to, but we're going to go do it right after this. So thank you everyone for listening. Huge thanks to our patrons for supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. Again, that is the best way to support us. We really appreciate everything that everyone that support us over there. So whether it's $1 an episode, $2 an episode, whatever works for you, every little bit helps, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, if you dig the show and you want to help us out, drop us a 5-star review in the iTunes store. That helps Angry Chicken find new listeners, which helps us grow, which helps us get new patrons, which lets us spend more time doing this. It's a cycle that feeds itself. We appreciate it. Huge thanks to our producers, by the way, Declan H., Michael N., Sean C., Johnny S., LVE. You are all extremely generous, and we cannot thank you enough for helping Angry Chicken continue. Other than that, Around the Table Dills, where can everybody find you?
Check me out on Twitter. I'm at Willie Dills, twitch.tv/Willie Dills. That's where you can find me streaming.
Jocelyn?
Twitter and Twitch at Joss Plays. Super easy peasy. I'm going to be doing Get Nailed tomorrow. We're doing a Witchwood theme. So... What?
I haven't heard you say that title in so long. You know why? Wait, did you ask me what after you say "get nailed"? You of all people.
Fair enough. But yeah, so that'll be on Twitch under the creative section tomorrow. So
Jocelyn giggles at Innuendo Moffat is judging me for laughing at the phrase "get nailed." All right, folks. I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. All of the podcasts I do can be found at amove.tv. And nomoonart.com for my graphic design portfolio, or nomoonart.com/lessons if you'd like to take some lessons from me. That's going to do it for episode 257. We will see you very, 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 very soon for episode 258, where we wrap up all of the Witchwood card spoilers and finish out the neutrals we haven't talked about already. Until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes.
All right. I seriously need to just take